Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Parallel Killer. Are you ready for Fear Itself? This is a Fear Itself two-shot. If you are used to being here for Vampire the Masquerade, it will be returning. We will have that returning on, I'll double check the dates, the 27th for the penultimate episode and the 3rd for the grand finale for season 2. Are you ready for that, Tracy?
No. I'm not ready. I can't believe it. We've been through 50 plus episodes this season. So, yeah.
So we had a last minute swap of things. So we do have kind of a quick cast that we put together for this game. If you've never played Fear Itself before, it is a gumshoe game. It's very story driven. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is very dangerous if they get themselves into like health danger, but a lot of it's more mental stability and things of that sort. I will be playing Fear Itself, and they will be playing a whole slew of different characters. In this game, we're primarily focused on a killer, and they're going to try to figure out the murder and mystery of it all. And, you know, they'll learn some things about their own characters along the way. We have some new faces. You've obviously seen Tracy, aka Miss Magitech, on our VTM show every Saturday, but we do have some new folks. We have Wise Papa Grant playing our character here. You've been on our Ascension show, but not on any of our long form show. Do you want to kind of talk about maybe what other things you do as well?
Hey everybody, my name is Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games, and I'm happy to be back here on Roll For It. I'm all over the place, but I'm happy to be here today.
I'm glad you get to join us because I feel like this whole group, I don't get to play with you guys enough, so I'm excited to be able to play games with you. Speaking of which, we also have Distracted Elf, who has joined our Ascension game as well, but has not been on any of our long form shows. So if you want to kind of talk about what you do on the internets as well.
It's true. I haven't, but I'm Distracted Elf. You can usually find me for tabletop stuff on Roll20's channel or the D&D channel doing various GMing at the moment. I'm running a D&D game, 5e game, and I'm running a Star Wars Edge of the Empire game for Roll20 at the moment, and that's kind of my major thing. I also do a bunch of streaming that's like not tabletop related, but that's, you know, that's secondary at this point.
Definitely go check out Elves. They do a lot of awesome stuff. And of course, last but not least, we have Academic Foxhole, which you have seen on some of our other shows before. The last one was one of our Good Society games, I believe, right? Do you want to kind of just go
Good Strong Hands, I think, actually.
Good Strong Hands. That was a one-shot.
With Miss Magitech. It was.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
That was such a good game.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, go watch that. It's a quick, not right now, but like later.
Maggie and I woke up, because we're on the West Coast, we woke up at like 6 a.m. to play that, which is dedication.
But it was so worth it. It was so good. It was so good.
It was really good.
Do you want to talk about, you know, where you're at, what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm Trooper SJP, and you can find me on my Twitch channel, Trooper SJP. And also like all over the internet, I play RPGs, I GM RPGs. I've got a French Resistance game that I do on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's what I do, but I'm very excited to be here. My wig is very hard to tame. I've got some gel in here, but it's just going to do what it's going to do. This is the thing about this one. It costs like negative $47. Like it paid me to have this wig, and it's just going to do what it's going to do. And I'm playing Dr. Orlando Colon, who is one of the medical examiners, and I'm really excited. Oh no. Well, I'm not playing that. I'm playing someone else. You don't even know who I'm
You
playing.
don't even know.
You don't know.
Everyone's really excited. We're getting really into character creation, or more of our character creation. So that's why we started a little late. So I apologize if you're coming to watch
sorry.
this live. They were chatting a lot. It's good though. It's good. And of course, Tracy and I have been here. Miss Magitech and I have been here. We'll be here. So we'll talk about what we do at the end. To get things started, I'm just going to go through some, paperwork stuff for you all. That jazz. So a little bit of shilling, and then we'll get into it. So first and foremost, out on Patreon, we have our February recap. So if you're interested in how Roll For It runs, how we are able to pay our cast and things like that, you can check that out. We go over pretty much every little detail, all the little stats, all the shows that we've had the previous month. We really kind of lay it out there. We're very transparent with our community. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out over there. Of course, there's going to be some weird time zone stuff that happens tonight, aka tomorrow. So that means tomorrow's show is actually starting at 11 a.m. Pacific instead of 10 a.m. Pacific, but it's still 6 p.m. UK time. So it's very weird daylight savings time mumbo jumbo. We'll be sure to let you know on Twitter and Facebook if you follow us on those when we go live. Of course, if you click is there a bell now on Twitch? I don't know. Select the notification options. We'll let you know whenever we're live here. We usually always go live 30 minutes in advance, so you have a good idea of what's going on. But yeah, so that's going to be happening until the 28th, I believe, because daylight savings time swaps back to the 28th, and then everything will be back to normal. But that is pretty much it for announcements that I have. This is like the shortest announcements I've ever had. So if you'd like to support us, and if you're enjoying the stories that we're telling and you want to see us do more, really the best way is over on Patreon, patreon.com/rollforit. Not only do you help us fund our shows and our lovely stories and characters, but you also get a lot of amazing rewards. We have a whole bunch of different tiers, up until including playing in a private GM'd game with one of our cast members. And, it's just tons of awesome goodies from behind the scenes GM stuff. I'll definitely have some GM stuff from the Parallel Killer, probably after the second episode, because I don't want to give all the hints away.
If you wanted to put the killer in the after show thing and just give it to us right now, that'd be cool. I mean, you could just.
We'll also have the character sheets for all of these lovely cast members at the end as well, so you can see how they built out their characters and whatnot and that jazz. So that's kind of the stuff over there. And of course, if you want to support us right here on Twitch, you can subscribe and you get access to some videos in advance. We usually put those up within 24 hours free on our YouTube channel, and you get access to our emotes. You can also get those emotes over on YouTube if you become a YouTube member. And if you are a patron, a Twitch subscriber, a YouTube member, you get access to our private Discord where you can actually talk with our cast members. We have private chats for each of our shows. There's lots of role playing that happens, especially for The Last Ditch. We have all kinds of different things that people partake in over there. So definitely go check that out if you are any of those. And I think that's all the monetary ways that you can also donate. If you donate, it will put you can basically fill up the space in front of my face and cover me so that maybe I don't bring the fear, but it's going to happen. And at the end, I will read off any of the tips that you guys provide, or donations that you guys, or tips, donations, whatever they're called, that you send our way. And, if you can't support us in a monetary means, we totally understand. You should take care of you first and foremost. Even if you really want to, don't do it unless you are you're financially stable. We want you to take care of yourselves first. And there are tons of free ways to support us by being right here watching, or, going over on our Twitter, liking, favoriting, retweeting, commenting. Same with our Facebook, as well as on our YouTube channel. All of those things go a long way into pushing us forward on the algorithm SEO gods, because they just, it's a weird thing, basically. Just support us in all the places, and that goes a long way for us. And of course, subscribing on YouTube, following on Twitch. There we go. I think I covered everything. Whew. So let's get into the story. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. We're gonna play a little music. Hopefully, chat will let me know, and mod team will let me know if things are too loud or whatever. And I will go through rules as we reach them, just so the viewers are aware. Crime scene forensics comes with many processes that are straightforward these days, but some people know about other things that lurk in the dark, more than just the average criminal, which these processes, they won't aid you in figuring out what truly happened. As experts in their fields, these folks have all come together to work on an assignment. And we will start our first scene with Dr. Cologne and Elena Miller, who are in the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. We're gonna start with a little water cooler conversation just to get the vibe. Academic, can you describe what your character looks like? And then Tracy, or Miss Magitech, if you could describe what your character looked like. And then just what kind of conversation would the two of you be having at the water cooler?
So we're in Chicago, and Dr. Cologne is early 30s, about 32 years old, has been working very hard for much of his life to get a really good 1950s pompadour, but his hair has a little bit too much body in it, and it always starts collapsing at some point in time, and he's always sort of trying to get a good 1950s pompadour going on. He, wears a good 1950s sort of set of Ray-Bans. He kind of goes a nice, he has a bit of he kind of goes for a 50s lounge, ultra lounge sort of vibe, underneath his lab coat, wears glasses. He's pretty fit. He's a fit fellow, but he's not super muscular. He works behind it. He works at, in the county examiner's office. It's very cold. There are bodies everywhere being refrigerated. He's sort of fairly amiable, sort of friendly sort of fellow. He is a smoker, and so he's always trying to, but you can't smoke in buildings anymore. So he's always trying to maybe get outside to smoke. But then you have to step away from the building. So it's one of these things where he has this whole retro lifestyle that doesn't always work with the non-smoking policies. But he's friendly. He likes to sort of chat with people. He's not necessarily really good at it, but he does enjoy it very much.
And Elena, she is pretty young looking, about, in her early 20s. She kind of looks like the intern at the office because she is interning. The thing is though, she's always dressed like she's ready for business. She's dressed like she's ready for a courtroom because she is a student, a law student. And so she currently is wearing her button down shirt, blazer with the dress pants. And she is about average height, 5'5" or so. And she looks like she's kind of happy to be here. This wasn't exactly her first choice of a place for an internship, but she's still trying to kind of appreciate what's around her. So she, has a somewhat eager demeanor, but I think deep down she's kind of I don't really want to be here, but it's fine, that's fine. So yeah, that's Elena.
I would imagine I'm the same height as you, so a little shorter when you're in heels.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. And what would the two of you be conversing about,
Well, what day is it of the week?
Let's say it's Friday.
Okay.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
I love that song.
I saw what you were doing.
Elena, so have you thought about maybe, tomorrow night, Saturday night, over at Las Tablas, there's dancing. Cha-cha?
Yeah, Dr. Cologne.
You haven't come yet.
I know this is the third time you've invited me, and look, me and my friends, we have our usual spots. So I'll see if we can make it in our bar hopping, after that. Where is it again? Where's your
Oh, it's on Washington Square. You should come. It's very good. They've got, look, what's best about this place is that they also have, they don't just do modern salsa or like bachata. You can also do mambo and cha-cha-cha. So they also do sometimes a little bit of retro lounge, and it's great. And you should come. You should also bring your friends. Sometimes they don't have enough people. Sometimes it's really good. That's got good food, good atmosphere. But it's nobody from the office goes.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. I'm sure it's, a ton of fun. Just nothing but fun. Yeah.
Also, imagine he wears lime green shoes. Like, imagine he's got these like super, super retro shoes that are like lime green.
Elena's just looking down at the shoes while she's having this conversation.
They're like shoes. Like, they're not just like, I'm wearing shoes. They're like shoes. It's like, well, you should come. Also, I was trying to get people in the office to come to like a trivia night or something one time, like a pub bar. And I know that you are really good friends with a lot of people in the office. You've only been here a short time, but maybe you could invite everyone to come to the trivia night. It's just, there's a bar not too far from the office, and
trivia night. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I'll see what I can do, if I can wrangle up some folks, and we'll,
maybe tonight, like Friday night, we could get everyone.
Yeah, I'll see what my friends or what the group is up to. I'll get back to you.
Okay, but also maybe you could. So the chief medical examiner.
Yes,
she's amazing. Also, never comes to trivia night. But maybe you could invite her to the trivia night, and then everybody would come to the trivia night.
Oh, I see. Yes, I see where you're getting at. She is kind of more of the social butterfly. So,
really, she's social to you?
To me, yeah. I mean, I work pretty closely with her. You know what, Doctor? I think this is. I'm gonna go back to my office and make sure that everything's under control. I will definitely get back on the trivia night, and don't you worry, we'll have fun tonight.
Okay.
And our camera fades as Dr. Cologne walks happily away, thinking, we're gonna have a trivia night tonight. For the first time. He's been trying so hard to get this together, make friends at the office, and you just see this, you hear like the squeaking of these green lime shoes on this very sterile laminate floor as you hear a door open and close shut with like a seal almost. And you hear the high heels clicking of Elena as she walks into an office. And the camera pans out and you see the Cook County Medical Examiner's office. And it slides down quite a few streets of Chicago and lands itself at a little cafe that has books lined amongst the shelves. And you see two young folks sitting at a table together. Would you describe yourselves, Avery and Agatha?
Yeah. Avery. Now, if Dr. Cologne takes care of himself, Avery looks like he may have done some Dance Revolution like in the early 2000s. That was the extent of his fitness. Round as a shape, and he is currently in it. So he's dressed very casually. He's got kind of a mop top head. Not in any classical sense. It's just that's the way his hair fell that day. However, he always catches the eye of a few people in the cafe or on the streets who are like, I wonder where he got that uniquely stylized hoodie. And it's just kind of like, I'm wearing a hoodie. He doesn't know. Just naturally fashionable. And he has a variety of electronic devices ready to go at any state. A tablet, a phone, a personal recorder, pocket camera, and of course, chargers for all of them that he wears like Batman's utility belt. And in case anyone needs a charge, he's got a pack ready to go and all the adapters. be prepared. There's probably a couple dads in that cafe that's like, that's a prepared young man. And so that would be Avery.
On the other side of the table is Agatha. She, unlike Avery with all the electronics, has like a paper notepad that has clearly seen a lot of love, and is idly chewing on a pencil while listening to Avery talk on some subject. She looks, one could say disheveled, but her style is like slightly not caring grandma, if you know what I mean. She's got a lot of like what would you call it, like knitted stuff going on, and like a very like long skirt that looks comfy, pockets deep in this thing, by the way, just like as many as you can get. And she has her hair like messily tied up, and it looks like if you untied it, it would be really quite a bit too long to be manageable. Yeah, she's sort of like leaning elbow on table, listening to whatever Avery is talking about, while she sits there with a coffee she hasn't touched.
What is Avery talking about?
I'm talking about how Doris Troy's hit record Just One Look was recorded as a demo, and she was horribly offended that they didn't take the time to record it beyond a demo, but the demo made the charts, which is kind of better. And how she really deserves more recognition for backing vocals for the Rolling Stones, George Harrison, etc. But really, as a solo artist, she really signed. And it's one of those things where I'm just like going deep into whatever Wikipedia articles.
I feel like the counter is like when there's a breath. Aggie inputs like, yeah, but have you heard this other song that she did? That if you play it at a slightly lower pitch and backwards, you get a secret message that, you know, like, and sort of talking about how this weird circumstance could happen, but it's sort of disconnected to what you were saying.
Yeah, and I would be like, well, have you seen my tattoo? And it's going to be that song message backwards. Listen, if you're going to get a tattoo, you go in all the way.
That. What are the chances that I would bring that up and that you would have a tattoo of that? What are the chances?
Pretty good, given your unique talents and background. Agatha, I'm concerned.
About what?
We're not hitting the front page of the charts. So for the audience, Avery is a podcast editor. We're not on the front page of the iTunes, and I'm worried that they're going to have a conversation with me again about compensation.
I feel like there's an idiom here, you know, that the whole artists aren't appreciated in their time, sort of a thing. But we could try something a little more mainstream for the next episode. She says as if she doesn't even know what the mainstream would be.
Here's the problem. I think if we go mainstream, we'd have to really saturate the truth, our message. We'd probably have to give a fair and balanced approach. I'm really not interested in that. I'm really interested in our gut biases, because that's our personal truth or perception of the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Are you nodding politely or because you actually agree with me? I don't mean that offensively.
She totally agrees with you. She's like, yeah, no, of course. One has to go with what they believe in, and honestly, you can hear that in the recordings. You know, when you're speaking on something you truly feel something about, it's different. You know, it hits differently.
I dig it. And then it's one of those things, I'm going to take a deep sip of what one would suspect would be some brew, some coffee. No, I'm just drinking hot water today because funds are tight and Patreon hasn't dropped. So, and then the dispersal time period. So it's just like, look, bread and hot water. Grandma told me it'll swell my stomach. I'll feel good for the day.
Yeah, and as you're continuing this conversation, Agatha, what is it like when you get a premonition?
I think it's a waking dream sort of thing, like a vision. I think she is in some ways like taken out of whatever. She's not aware of what's happening around her while
Okay.
it's happening for whatever period
So
of
what
time.
happens here is
she kind of spaces out.
yeah, you're kind of staring towards Avery, and Avery's taking a sip out of his hot water, making it pretending that he's drinking coffee. And he's like, smells great. And he just goes on and is talking about Patreon and how he, what kind of strategy he can use to increase his viewership on or his listenership. I don't know.
Same
and
thing.
so yeah, same thing, viewership, whatever, and increase those engagements on his social platforms. And all of a sudden, everything gets quiet around, and you hear kind of silence, and then all of a sudden, you see kind of flashes of imagery. It's dark. You feel like you can see your own breath, and little puffs of like air come out of your mouth as the darkness sets in. When you blink, before you can see a body. It looks like a young girl, maybe, you're not sure, 17 to 20. She's pretty. You blink again, and it is a horrifying sight. Almost parallel to her body are her organs, all on the other side of her. Clean. Almost like what was inside of her is just placed beside her. And you gasp, and almost with that gasp within that vision, you gasp out loud.
Yeah, I think
And the vision is gone.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think like as she sort of like comes back to reality, as it were, she gasps like this loud sort of sharp intake of breath, and like grabs the coffee cup that she probably would have knocked off the table if she'd sort of like not reached for it. You know, there's this like a sudden movement, and I feel like Avery's probably seen this before, or at least experienced it like over the like podcast like link, you know, where Agatha kind of just like spaces out for a little bit, and she blinks and like regains her focus, and looks over at Avery, and says, that wasn't a good one.
Avery would unmute himself.
Yeah.
Sorry, do it to save force nostril breathing instead of mouth breathing. He reactivates his vocal cords, and he'd ask, "What are you feeling right now? You look concerned."
Saw something. I think I saw something. Anyway, a body, and a lot of that body set beside that body.
Whose body?
Young girl, maybe 17, 18. It was dark and cold.
Did you pick up any distinguishing features, hair color, eyes? Did she have any
Maggie
clothes?
hair color, clothing?
Yeah. The initial image that you saw was a dark-haired woman. You couldn't see eyes because her eyes were closed. She had kind of tan skin, maybe olive toned. Well, that was pre her organs being on the other side of her.
Yeah, of course. But before the organ part, yeah.
She was actually probably naked, no clothes.
Okay.
No
Right.
clothes.
No clothes, dark hair, olive skin. But I didn't see that for long. That was just a quick glimpse, and then her insides were kind of set beside her in my next blink. Didn't see the process, just the end result.
Yeah, you would notice that Avery is maintaining eye contact and trying to focus to help Aggie articulate what it is she saw. but his hands, he'd be jotting down these details in like a moleskin journal. And it's his Aggie journal. Anytime he hangs out with her, he's like, something weird might happen. Or she might say something very profound that we'll lose if we don't record it. And I would never record her voice without her consent.
I was gonna say, is there a reason that you write it down? Because you seem like an electronics kind of person, you know.
I am, but I want to protect you from having recordings of your voice. I think that's personal to you, and I don't want to try to capture any of your visions, because I think they would judge you, and that ain't the way I play. But I'll write down notes.
She's truthful about this stuff with you, but almost with no one else. You know what I mean? It's very much like, how did you arrive at this conclusion? Because she knows that you'll believe her, but that other people might not, sort of thing. And she sort of like maintains that eye contact with you, and ends with like a horrible scene, really, but cleaner than I thought something like that would be. Organized, you know.
Do you think this is worth looking more into? Because I have a friend, if this is a premonition or a vision, could shoot him a text, see if he's heard anything, if there's been anyone coming through.
I can never tell if it's happened yet or it's going to happen. But I mean, it always does. So someone's gonna get hurt soon, or has recently. Best to maybe make a call.
I'll shoot a text, a pic text, as the kids call it, and then I would take a picture. I've sketched out kind of like a body organs diagram in my moleskin journal. I take a photo and I'm going to text it to Dr. Cologne, and it's going to say, got one of these, you know, just kind of like casually too, where it's just like, hey, has someone showed up in the morgue they've been
with like all of their organs removed and put aside.
That's the kind of friendship we have.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Before you get the text, we're gonna rewind a little bit for Dr. Cologne. But we see Avery as he's taking a picture, and you hear the sound of a picture being taken and text message being sent, and it goes. And almost like, you know, a movie scene, you see the screen zoom in on his phone on this picture that he's drawn, and it fades to white. And the camera pans out into a room. It's a very sterile, clean room. There are along the walls what look like latches with doors that look like if you open them, you could slide something out of them. In that room seems to be kind of like a little closed in. There's a table that looks like it's made out of maybe like some really sterile steel or something. Doesn't have much on it. And there's a window that can see into a couple different offices from this office or from this room. And in this room, we see Dr. Cologne. Dr. Cologne, within moments, you kind of like are all ready. You open a latch. You're gonna do some examination of a body, but before you do, another table is brought into the room. There's a woman. She's kind of an older woman, a little more curvy, one might say, and she's wearing a similar outfit to you. She also works in the examiner's office. She goes, "Hey, Orlando, looks like we got a new one for you, fresh."
Oh, okay. I was wonderful.
Yeah, the boss wants you to focus on this one. It's a weird one.
Oh, okay. Did Elena talk to you? And I imagine that
Why would Elena talk to me?
He's like pulling up the body and he's making sure he's got paper. Oh, she wanted to, all of us, it was her idea this time.
Don't
maybe
tell me she's going to try to push paper on me again. She keeps trying to make me sign stuff. I am not, I don't have time for that. I got other things I got to do.
No, the trivia pub night,
Well, that's not really my thing. I just, I like Friday nights. I want to just sit on my couch, kick up my feet, and watch The Voice. Those singers, there's something about it. And I
Well,
like
they
the
don't-
suspense, They're going to spin around the chair. Are they going to hit the button? Who knows?
Yeah, but none of them are Celia Cruz, I mean, if you go back to the 50s, this is when you really had singers, but also just maybe a little bit of trivia night. I feel like Elena wants to go. She's an intern. She's new. We should all get together as a group. Sometimes whenever pulls out some scalpels.
I'll think about it. Maybe a future week. I got a date tonight, with The Voice.
Okay, well, great. Do you think, would you send Elena in for, have her in the observation, so I can
Yeah,
tell her
I
how
can
it
do that
goes?
for you. But I don't know if you want anyone observing this. This is some freaky shit. Like
Oh.
whoever's doing this,
Oh, is it a
wackadoodle.
murder?
Murder. They're being
Okay.
tight-lipped about this one, so I'd have to get approval.
Look, I think she wants to do DA work or something like this, so I feel like it would probably be good if she could maybe on the other side of the glass so she doesn't.
Talk to the boss. I'll see what she says, but
Okay, and also just maybe think about pub nights before.
brace
The
yourself
Voice.
before you open this one. Oh, also, Carlos, bring it in. Carlos brings in a cooler, and then he slides in another cooler, and then another. Pretty much one for every organ.
Oh, Carlos,
What?
presents.
Presents?
Look, think about. I'm trying to make a joke. It's like workplace banter. You're bringing me coolers. It's presents. It's probably
right.
dead organs.
Sorry, just joking is not really my thing. That's her thing.
Maybe also trivia night. I'm gonna.
Oh, I like trivia.
Okay. Yes.
I used to play these Jackbox games. I know all
meant-
of the answers.
Yes. Okay. I think if we get Elena and you, we will win this pub night competition. I'm gonna just.
He pushes up his glasses.
Okay. We have trivia night. Perfect. And so, sets out all of the materials, make sure I have my paperwork so I can actually go through the autopsy, make sure I get all the lights set up. And so I'm ready to start doing this, but I'm waiting for Elena to sort of hit the other side of the glass and make sure I have my recording device so I can take the notes. And I really think this time we might actually get a trivia team together. I just feel like it might actually happen.
Carlos sets down the last cooler wherever you point him to place it down, and heads out. And he's like,
Where was
yeah,
the
man,
body
just
found?
text me, whenever.
Great. Files, Providence, where did it come from? Anything?
And then the other woman, she goes, here you go. She hands you like this kind of clipboard with a whole bunch of paperwork on it and a couple different files, and is like, it took a lot of pictures, but they never do as well as you do.
Thank you.
Don't let
Also-
that get to your head.
Oh, no, of course not. So who's the lead detective on this in case I need to know? So I want to make sure I get like who's lead detective because people might leave things out.
Yeah, the first officer on scene was William Kenny, and he goes by Bill.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Bill's good. He's all right. He's good. And I want to make sure I like note down all the text, who's first responder, like because I want to get a sense of what's going on. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, so that was the first officer on scene. The oh, I got the wrong document open. Basically his unit was the first to basically quarantine off the section. They had a couple crime scene technicians come in. There's a whole list of them as well,
Yeah.
if you need their names, as well as
imagine I know some of them. I just note which ones, like, was it this one or this one?
Yeah,
So
there were
just note-
four crime scene technicians, and there were 2 photographers, and about 8 officers that joined Kenny, or Officer Kenny.
Okay. I'm going to just give it like a couple moments for Elena to get here, because I know that I heard that she wanted to do DA work, or like she wanted to work in like something fancy. I don't know. Maybe she wants to do like defense. She wants to do something in that, I think.
Yeah. So in this time frame, the woman and Carlos, we don't have the woman's
Or
name.
maybe she just watches things like Scandal and like How to Get Away with Murder. Like it's really, but like I felt like, this could be a good experience.
So the woman and Carlos kind of leave after they have brought in the last cooler. The paperwork has all been handed off to you, and the door shuts, and you hear that sound again of like the door sealing, and the cool air that is in this very sanitary room. You have now 2 tables, one that has like a body bag with somebody in it. You have an empty one, and then you have all of these coolers now that you have access to. Out of character, just letting you all know, I don't know all the things about morgues and all that kind of stuff. So please don't mind if you like work in one of these places, you're like, that's not how things were gonna go. Let's have a little bit of an extension of disbelief. Just want to put that out there.
This is completely accurate to how it is 100%.
I just want to make it clear, because I know there's always going to be that one person on YouTube that's going to leave me a comment that's like, that's not how it works. And I'm like, I know, I just this is how it's working.
It's how it's going now.
The other lady goes and she's going to go talk to Elena. And Elena, what are you doing at the moment?
Doing paperwork, because that's what I'm often assigned to do. So Elena's in her little like cube in the office, kind of just going through some of the paperwork of recent files that came into the office, and checking things off and writing down things at her cube.
Yeah. I gotta check something really quick.
Get a good observation. If she's gonna do, and like I think he just assumes she wants to do some sort of criminal law, which she might not, but like she's here, so she must.
Nope,
Yeah.
you're accurate. Yeah.
Elena, almost within moments, you kind of feel something, like you're sitting at the table, you're writing up documentation, and you feel someone is confused and a little. They seem happy, and the door, you hear a knock on your door.
Come on in.
The door opens up, and it's this kind of bigger lady. She's got really curly red hair, and she's like, Miss Miller, it looks like Dr. Cologne wants you down in the examiner's office.
Oh, well, that's always fun.
Well, you gotta, you can only be in the observation area, you're not allowed in there.
Yeah, I know the drill. Yeah.
He got approval, so you can see what he's doing.
Good.
I'm gonna let you know. This one's classified, so zip it.
My lips are sealed.
So
by the way, are you feeling okay? I don't know, I got like a weird like vibe when you
I'm
came
fine.
in.
Well, okay. I'm gonna let you in. Friday nights. I'm always in a good mood. So if you're trying to get something out of me, Friday nights are the night to do it, because the voice is playing, and I bought myself some new wine. I'm on this app called like Beano or something, and I just always try to, I'm trying to actually, my friend Sally, me and her competing, see who can try the newest ones.
Did Dr. Cologne talk to you at all about trivia night?
Not you too?
Yeah. I feel like just once we should really like entertain the idea and go out. Like, I don't know. Look,
Friday nights are sacred nights.
Look, for me too. Me and my girls, we like the things that we get up to. I can't even.
I don't want to know.
HR purposes, I probably shouldn't say, but I feel like we should change it up a little bit. Come on, what's a Friday night where we go to some of the local places, and I don't know, maybe go to his dance club, whatever it's called. He talks about it every week. I feel like we need to just go once.
Well, this is not really my thing, I like to just kick up my feet, watch the boys, drink my vino. I like the quietness of it all. I feel like trivia nights is like lots of shouting, and that ain't my thing.
I feel like these places, it's a lot of like, I don't think it's as wild as you may think. It's probably like more low key trivia night. Just think about it. I'll be there, I think. And some of the other folks from the office, I'm going to try to convince them to go. I think it'll, get the brownie points, and, I got to do the social thing. So just think about it. I think he would really like to see you there.
With your one negotiation,
I was going to say, can I
you
use
can
any
just
of my
convince her.
skills?
With this, I would say like maybe it's something where you tell her, well, they might have a new wine you can try on the menu.
Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of thing.
Good. I like that.
And we can play that scene out if you want.
Yep. So, okay. Look, I know that there's what's your favorite type of wine? Cabernet? Are you a red wine kind of person or white wine?
I like a mix of both, Yeah, you gotta. Sometimes you want a white, sometimes you want a red, sometimes you want a nice rosé.
Oh, look,
I kind of do. It's almost like a mood ring. I just like to drink what I'm feeling.
I am the same way. From what I hear, this place actually has some really good reserve, which is not really something that a lot of places can boast. Me and my girls, we go wine tasting occasionally every few months. This is one of those places we were thinking of doing one of those flight things and trying a bunch of the different
All right, now you got me. This is where we're maybe on the same page now, Miss Miller.
Yeah, I 100% feel you here. So look, the first flight is on me if you want to come.
Well, now you just sweeten the deal. I'm in. All right. I'm just gonna fair warning. That trivia stuff is not my jam, but whatever. Seems like Carlos is really into it. He was like, that's the most emotion I've ever seen Carlos project.
Oh boy, Carlos is going. Okay. All right, cool. We will totally, it'll be great. We'll enjoy the wine and everything will be great.
She gives you finger guns, and Betty leaves the room.
Betty.
The door closes, and I'm taking the name. I like the name.
Yep. So I will go ahead and kind of finish up the last few things of my paperwork and head over to the observation room.
Yeah. As you're walking over to the observation room, you make it to the door. You're able to open it. And as you're walking into the door, Dr. Cologne, you're looking at the paperwork there. Is there anything that you're looking for in particular?
Well, I think one of the things I do is I'm very conscientious of making sure everything's all set up so that when I start, everything is proper. I don't want any contaminations.
So what does it look like when Alana walks in? Like what is all situated where?
I imagine
to us.
You have the large table, you have the body still in the bag on top of the table because I want the reveal for her. And I probably have then each one of these coolers laid out in a row, but all aligned. I have all of my medical equipment on a moving, one of those moving wheeled carts that's with a sterile pad on it, all set down. I probably also have I've got my recorder. I've got it's all set up so that it's all sort of set up so that you can look at it really well at the from the observation space. But it's this very level of precision and detail orientedness, and I have probably multiple pens laid out as well so that I can actually just write. There's something very, very precise and detailed about it, as if this is sort of like a bartender knows how their bar is set up. Everything is sort of done in this very specific way every time. Like it's always very, very specific. And once, and of course, everything, all of the mask, goggles, gloves, hairnet, clearly. And once I see her there, wave.
You don't see her quite yet. But as she goes to open the door and turn the doorknob, you hear the sound of your phone buzzing.
pull out my phone.
And you can see now that you're looking at it as it's buzzing. Avery's texting you.
Nobody's here yet. I'm going to pick up my text. It's Avery, so that's very exciting. And I pick it up because I bet I know what this is about. I have an idea.
You do? What do you have? What do you think?
It's trivia night. It's trivia night. That's what it is.
You think it's trivia night. You go into this with emotions of excitement that, you know, Avery is excited about it. You're like, finally, I have someone who I can geek out with about trivia night. You can tell him that there's going to be, you actually are going to have
Other
a team
people?
and it's not
Yes.
going to be just the two of you. And you look down and it is not what you originally thought it was going to be. It is an image that is quite horrifying. It's a drawing of a body and then an organs next to it. And Avery, what notes did you leave?
The surroundings, the type of organs that were separated, young woman slain, eyes shut on sight. Just trying to detail with as much accuracy as well as ambiguity, because I like to leave my mind open to possibilities, of the image that Agatha saw. And there's a chance that there might be a dead body that is a close enough approximation to the description.
You get this very intense text as Elena, you walk into the room. You can see the scene that Dr. Cologne described to us, but you also see him kind of looking concerned at his phone, and you get the sense of, what are you feeling in this moment? Monologue to us, and this is what you're feeling, Elena.
This is and it's like this phone, cooler, phone, cooler.
Yeah, it's almost like you're counting the amount of organs with the amount of coolers that are there. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is it's this sinking feeling, but it is this strong feeling of, and what I'm going to say is what I text back. I'm like, you got this from Aggie, didn't you? Is like, it's this like, oh no, but I don't think he would call her Aggie, he would call her Agatha. You got her, what's her last name?
Oh, which
Smith, sorry.
Smith.
Oh, Agatha.
You got this from Agatha Smith, didn't you? Is what he texts. But it's there's this feeling of serious unease whenever Aggie gets involved, which she does times. It's always unsettling, right? And it's this feeling of, I see this body and I know that this drawing is going to be accurate to this. I bet when I pull out, and I imagine what happens, because I probably don't see Elena yet, is I pull out one of the crime scene photos to compare if they're the same. And I just have this feeling of dread that they will be, because the idea of the supernatural freaks me out in this way that I can't really explain. But it's not that I don't believe it, although I don't believe it, but I don't believe it. It's just that it's going to be this way. Like, there's this real sense of something unnatural is happening right now. And it's not the body, it's the fact that I know this photograph and this drawing, I know they're going to match.
Yeah.
And that
In this moment, your heart sinks as you move the phone out of the way and you lean over to the paperwork to flip open a page. And Elena, you can feel this sinking, uncomfortable, almost scared to know what's going to happen next feeling. And it overwhelms you it's like the moment you open the door, you're feeling this rush of emotions.
Elena will just kind of walk in and just look over and see. She senses the feeling, so she's going to try to see what exactly is causing this and look over and see if she sees anything.
It looks like maybe something that was on the phone was making him feel uncomfortable. That's what your first guess would be.
And I think that she would see me comparing my phone, like it's like an old iPhone from like too many years ago, but it's still an iPhone. It's cool.
Yeah,
Was
the
that-
old model.
this is set in 2018 in Chicago, just so y'all
Yeah.
are.
And this is not a
So it's a
2018 iPhone.
4S.
Yeah, it's like I got like a 4S, right? And I'm clearly comparing this phone, something on my phone, with crime scene photos, and that's the thing that is that is the distressing part, because the body's not even open yet. It's that.
Hey, Doctor Cologne, is everything all right?
Yes. It's. I'm glad you're here, Maggie. Are they the same? Are there similarities between that photograph and that drawing? Because that would be.
Yes.
Oh, I knew it.
The moment you open it up, you are hit by horrifying images. I don't know what kind of history you've had as a doctor here, but this is probably, for most people, the most gruesome scene and gruesome murder that they have seen in ages. You can see pictures of this young girl laying on a carpet. She is naked. Her body is like carved open in like perfect precision, almost like someone like cut it perfectly. And everything that's would be inside her skin, other than her bones, has been like delicately taken out and is laying beside her, parallel to her body and almost perfectly. You are a medical examiner. I mean, I don't even need to make you roll. You know these things. You know anatomy. You know that these things would be exactly where this person has placed them after murdering this person. It is disgusting. But there's also some elements to it that are weird that you're looking at in these images. Where's all the blood?
Yeah, I think
There's no blood.
I think the thing is like, Orlando has seen bodies hit by trains. Like Orlando has seen a lot of gruesome things. The
More
most
mangled,
disturbing,
right? Yeah.
mangled bodies. Like I've seen a lot of things, but I think probably the thing that's disturbing is the fact that I got the drawing first. Right, that's the thing that is most distressing.
Oh, for sure.
And what Orlando does in this moment is like, have to table that. Try to basically get professional, like get into the details. And I would like to use my medicine skill. And I think what happens is that it's Elena that Orlando uses Elena as a touchstone. Like I have to explain the details to Elena, so I cannot think about these other things. I have to think about the details. And so it's like we have going through the paperwork. So I'm going to use a combination of my forensics to go through the paperwork to sort of explain to her what has happened, and medicine to sort of see what we're happening. Like, okay, so this is from the details. We have a woman and like her age, where she was found. And then because I want to give her like legal details that might be interesting for her in terms of like investigation.
Yeah, tell me what details you want to provide to her, and they will be relayed.
The basic rundown of who the victim was, where she was found, like lividity, how long since murder. Like,
Okay, go through one
estimated
question at a
time of
time, and
death.
I'll give you the answers. And if you guys want to jot down notes.
Yep.
I've got my notes up.
Okay.
Identity of the victim, if we know.
Lisa Bath. Lisabath.
Age.
She's 22.
Where she was found.
She's found in her house in the living room. Or her apartment.
Her apartment.
It's not a house. It's an apartment.
Mm-hmm. And then I would also say where that apartment was, like, where she lived.
Yeah, it's near DePaul University. You have the address.
And then I would say, I wonder if she's a university student. And like sort of like it's like there's like a kind of like it's kind of like a dialogue with Elena, like here are the details, and then kind of like wondering questions like, I wonder if and it's directed to her, but it's also clearly like the sort of musing thought process. Like, you go to University of Chicago.
I do, yes.
This is maybe DePaul, student housing, I don't know, or maybe off campus, 22, senior.
Oh, Elena's just taking notes in her binder as he's going through all of this.
Yeah. that could be looked into. And I kind of look through to see if they have any kind of information on that. It's like there's a bit of like the mystery fan in it. Like, well, what does that detail? And what were the sort of if she had a roommate, if there were any observations from the
That
crime
kind of
scene.
information is not in your medical examiner's
so.
documentation, but you would assume that there would be a case file that would have that information for sure, 100%.
And I think I would just say, I imagine there's a case file with more details. I wonder if her roommate knows something. Like, I imagine they must have done interviews with people on the scene. Oh, do you know Bill Kenny?
Officer Bill. I think I've heard his name before. Yes.
He's first on scene.
Okay.
First, you know people over there at the office, and then he's sort of going through that one to see if like what the impressions were from the forensic techs, like what they put down as like their initial sort of thoughts about this before I go, because I always like to check them to see if I think what they think, because I just want to know who's good or who's not.
Yeah.
According to Betty, this one is particularly more confidential than some of our other cases. I don't quite know. I guess I can kind of see why. This looks very different than some of our other things that you've had me come in for and watch.
She hasn't seen all the things that you've seen in
That's
the
true. I have like very
Yeah,
limited knowledge.
She's like up in the observation area, so she can't
Yeah.
really see everything.
And he says, my first thought if it's going to be confidential like this is that she's important, but she doesn't seem so, or this is a serial killer. But I imagine I've not seen a body like this come through recently.
No, you've never seen a body ever come through that has been like this. Like, yes, there have been organs separated, but not so perfectly clean. Not a body that is missing all of the blood, and the crime scene has no blood.
I'm going to open up the bag. And before I do, I'm like, be prepared. I'm opening it up. I want to check the incisions. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to do this like the general, like and follow procedure, I imagine like there's, when you do an autopsy, there's a procedure and you name everything, but I'm really interested in assessing the kind of skill that it would have taken to do this, right? Like how, are we talking scalpels? Are we like, how sharp was the instrument? Like what kind of skill does this person who did this, do they have medical skills? Do they have like, kind of like trying to get a sense of that, because that's, like, I'm trying to do the cause of death. By the way, it was murder. But I don't know. Maybe, hopefully she was unconscious before all of this happened. Like, was all this done like post-mortem? Like, trying to get a sense of like what happened to this woman and what kind of person might have done it.
Yeah.
And also, is there any way that Aga could like? I just Agatha, go ahead. It's just
Yeah. You go to grab the zipper at the top of this bag that is, the size of this young woman. She's about like 5'6", average height. We hear the sound of the zipping, going down, and the screen fades to black as we switch over back to Avery and Agatha. Avery, you've had
I probably would have said, if you were in here, you would notice the smell, right? Like that's what I probably would have said as we fade to black.
Yeah, she won't be able to smell it because she's on the other side of the glass. Avery and Agatha. Avery, you've been going back and forth with Orlando a little bit here. I'm not sure what Orlando has stated back and forth to you. I think he asked you, is this from Agatha? And you were like, yes. And so there's been a little bit of conversation back and forth. So Agatha, you're like looking over as you see Avery kind
I'm
of
like
texting back and
peering
forth.
over to look at Avery's phone.
Yeah, and I would totally let you see, and I would ask Orlando, is it safe to come by?
And then I think what I would say is come to trivia night right after work, right?
Got it.
Just right after work. Because if this is confidential, we will meet at the pub. That's what we're going to do.
That you invited all your coworkers to.
Well, they're not going to come until later. We're going to go right after work.
Okay. You're going to be early. Yeah, they're
we're gonna
definitely
be early.
going to show up late for sure.
Statute of time on freedom of information, I understand. I don't necessarily agree with, but I'd ask Agatha and be like, almost nonchalantly, we're going back and forth with this macabre conversation. And I just kind of turn and be like, you want to come to trivia tonight?
she sort of takes a moment to like reevaluate the conversation, and goes like, yeah, sure. I guess I
Yeah.
know some stuff.
We can take my longboards and I think our plan would be to meet with the good doctor at trivia night.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Agatha, you have something
I feel like there's probably a statement somewhere in there that's like, I'm not gonna be arrested for this one again, am I? The last time we tried this, if they thought it was me.
There's no probable cause. Your premonition happened after the murder, and the only witnesses are myself, and I am a reliable witness. Avery's dream is to be called to give expert testimony in court, though it will probably never happen. I have charts, I have diagrams, I've worked out the math. I don't even know the case yet, but I've worked out the math. And it's one of those things. It's just there's no reason for them. There's no motive. There's no reason for them.
Agatha is reassured by Avery's like random statements of like, you'll be fine, basically.
Oh, trust me, I know the law.
Yeah.
I think the only one who actually knows the law is maybe Miller.
I think
Yes.
I think it's one of those things where it's like she sort of just trusts Avery anyway. So it's like, oh, okay, if Avery thinks it'll be all right, then fine. Yeah, I'll come.
And it's kind of here's sort of like the psychological principle I'm using. It's not quite a reassurance or a shrink. It's simply, it might be a lie. You might not be safe. But if we
Yeah.
believe you're safe for the time being, you are safer than if we felt
Yeah.
you were in danger. So we will act
you're
accordingly.
better not being nervous, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I like that. So I guess our plan is to head over to the bar where the trivia night is being held to like wait for the doctor.
Okay. Is there anything else
we're
the
in
two of
early.
you, Avery and Agatha want to do in the meantime?
Yeah, do we have like a meantime, anything?
Yeah.
Or
okay, so here's
personally,
what I
if you want to do anything?
I think I just text not a thing. I'm not texting anything, but I might have accidentally slipped. When you're texting and you sometimes autocorrect changes things, and I was gonna just type something else. I was gonna type something like, hey, I really feel like I could have like a nice long bath, but somehow it just autocorrected to Lisa Bath. It's just the words Lisa Bath in that text. But it was like, I was going to type something. It was like, I would like a long bath. And it just yeah.
long bath before
context.
trivia, then we put on our jerseys, then we win the thing. And I would ask, does the
But
name
it just says Lisa
mean-
Bath. Mhm.
Yeah, does Lisa Bath mean anything to you?
Having very little social skills and probably not being around the university, she probably doesn't know the person like offhand, and I don't know if she'd have any sense of the name Maggie, because it's just a premonition like based on
You don't get
visuals.
names, but you would,
Yeah,
Maybe guest starred on an episode of Friends sometime
yeah,
in the 90s.
like,
Who knows? Lisa
trivia,
Bath?
trivia.
Yeah.
She shakes her head and says like, no, I don't think I've heard of them. Are they high profile?
It's just Dr. Cologne, Orlando. He messaged me the name. I think the name might be connected to the body.
Well, maybe it's the victim.
Maybe we look it up online, and it's one of those things where we're going to take advantage of this sweet free Wi-Fi while we got it.
Yeah,
We're going to switch to the tablet. Yeah. More screens. I think we're just going to name search Lisa Bath, Chicago.
all right.
See if something comes up.
Yeah, and you have 2 points in this. So when it comes to
Yes.
investigation abilities, these automatically give people clues, and you've seen a couple of these happen. But in this case, Grant actually has 2 points in computer use, so he may get a better clue than he would normally. You search up Lisa Bath. There are a lot of people that show up in this. It's like a couple people's different Facebook pages. There's some LinkedIn profiles.
But we can
there's
eliminate based on appearance as well.
Twitter and
'cause-
Instagram. Yeah, there, and then there's also like a bathhouse that shows up on there. There's, if you go to images, there's a bunch of pictures of people, and you're kind of looking through this. And Agatha, when Avery's clicking on these different images and things like that, you point out and you stop at this one. It's an Instagram. You can see this young lady with the dark hair, the olive tone. In these images, she looks much more lifelike, pretty. You can see that she has like these really beautiful honey brown eyes that you weren't able to see before. She looks happy. She's smiling. In some of the pictures, you actually see that there's another person with her. It looks like maybe a significant other of some sort. There's pictures of food, like different types of food that she has taken maybe when she was out eating. There's some pictures of her with a group of other girls who it looks like maybe they're cheerleaders or something, or some kind of sports thing. I don't know how well you guys know sports stuff, but they all look like they're wearing like similar uniforms. You would assume cheerleading, but it's not like normal cheerleading wear. And what else would you see in there? Maybe some just pictures of her like drinking coffee, looking longingly out a window.
Your typical Instagram.
Yeah,
fare.
very Instagram, very, very pretty. She's a pretty girl.
I think you know, she points out the particular profile when Avery is like scrolling, and says, I think
All the
that's her.
filters.
I can't be 100% sure. I mean, I didn't see her for very long, and she wasn't exactly, you know, standing for a profile picture, but I think that's her.
I think it's, well, I'm following her. I'm a fan now. Yeah, I think what I'd do is I'd kind of dictate into my phone with one hand as I'm looking at the others. Just kind of use voice recognition and be like, you know, questions. Who took the photos? Who's the significant other? Are they still together? What's their relationship like? Just kind of like trying to put together a profile on her. Who was close to her? Did she live alone?
When you click on the image with the other person that looks like maybe they're really close, it's another woman. Her name is Nancy.
Nancy.
You're not really sure what her last name is because her handle is like Nancy 101 or something like silly like that.
And Aggie's taking all this down in her little like notepad rather than the voice recording, like transcribing her own little detail. Though I will say that her organization is far, far inferior to Avery's.
It's just
like Avery has
lots
like
of thoughts.
Yeah, it's just like it's almost like if you read back through it, unless you were her, there's no way you'd know what she was even trying to like note down. You know what I mean?
And
only you can crack the code.
When you go to Nancy's page, it doesn't seem like Nancy posts as many Instagram posts. And most of Nancy's posts are pictures of cats. It's like her cat. Maybe she has like two cats now that you're like scrolling through and looking. They're very cute. Like one's really fluffy and the other one's like short-haired, gray tabby. And it looks like there's a lot of just videos and pictures of her cat, and then some of them are like her, and then some of them you see are her and Lisa together. It usually looks like they're having fun, they're smiling, they're laughing. They always have like their arm around one another.
And would these be recently dated, or are they legacy photos? Like, do they go back sometime? Relative.
It looks like the couple images and about like you don't see any more of the ones that look like they're a couple in the last 6 months, but like when you go back, that's when it looks like they were together.
Got it. And
But
just
as you get closer, it looks like maybe Lisa is focused on school, and more of it's like artistic photos or food photos, and less of their relationship. But Nancy's photos just kind of stop. Like Nancy has not posted in like 6 months, and the last photos
Yeah.
that you see are of the cats and also some of these relationship photos.
And to sort of explain like the research logic behind Nancy, like her username might be Nancy 101, but sort of the procedure that I'd use later at a future time using my computer skills would be, we could cross-check Lisa Bath space Nancy and then groups, schools, communities, just try to be like,
Yeah.
where would they have met? Maybe they have a mutual friend, and then like later I would dig. It's not anything I do.
You can't
In
do it
this
on a
moment, in the
tablet,
moment.
but like at home.
Not in the near time. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, oh, I wonder how they met. What is the real relationship? And then it looks like her focus shifted. Well, yeah, and then the next thing, I wonder if there's any like weird blogs that might be associated with this. But with that said, I'll sort of leave it to future investigation as we prepare for trivia, unless Agatha has something else.
Yeah, I feel like we're probably under a brief time crunch. You know what I mean? Like in the time it takes us to like look this stuff up, we probably get to a point where we need to like head out. Agatha's research is, and you know this, Avery, is always very much more like, I'll get back to you later, because her methods are not like, you can't carry around the big book of occultism, you know, like in your pocket.
Do you go somewhere to like go look at these books, or are you gonna do this afterwards?
I think Aggie has her own collection, but I think it'll be an afterwards, like after trivia, after talking to Dr. Orlando, you know, kind of thing, because she's been known to get lost in it for far too long, and she'd probably miss it if she were to go and do it now. I think is the issue.
Okay. And if there's nothing else, we fade back in as the two of you are kind of like looking over this tablet, and you're pointing out things, and you're just digging deeper, and the scene pans out, and we see the two of you doing this. A waiter kind of walking by, sliding in another cup of hot water, looking a little disappointed that the two of you have not pawed a lot, and you've been hanging out here using the Wi-Fi for a really long time.
Aggie has a coffee, it's just not drunk, you know?
Yeah.
It's the Wi-Fi coffee.
And
Yeah.
we pan out of the room as the zipper is being unzipped, and this smell is overwhelming, Dr. Cologne. Something else happens here for you. As you're concentrating and unzipping this, and you open it up, and you can see this body. You can see her pale skin. She's like lost the color in it, that you've probably seen in the photos of her before. Like they had like a photo of her that the family had provided, right? She does not look like that anymore. And all the skin is like sunken in because it's like missing the blood, and it's like very tight and taut to the bone. And the incisions along the body are like perfect. It's almost like someone took a laser and just like cut her skin perfectly and like peeled it open, and you can see like none of the bone, it looks harmed at first look. Like normally you would see like some maybe scratches from like a knife or like something like that, but you don't see any of that. And it's almost like, how did they get these organs out of here without breaking some of these bones? It's kind of like your thought process, and it all seems like everything's perfectly still together. Like nothing's broken at first glance. Nothing's like taken apart. So there's a little bit of confusion there for you. And her skin is still there, but not in the center part where like the organ, where you can see where the organ should be. But that's kind of like what you see at first. But
And I'm narrating all of this to Elena. Like
Yep.
I'm narrating everything that I'm seeing.
in more medical speak than what I'm saying, for sure.
Yes.
And as you're looking at this, and you can see that this is odd to you. You have this sense. You're very sensitive to things, and often when you actually like touch a body part or you're at a crime scene or something like that, you get like these sensitive feelings, and usually they pertain to like how an animal felt or how a person felt, depending on the circumstances of like the case.
But
And
that's
in this
normal.
case, What was that?
That's normal. People normally have those sorts of feelings.
Yeah, sure. Totally normal. You think this is normal. And you're looking and concentrating and really trying to understand what's happening here and orating this to Elena. And as you're doing so, you get this very overwhelming, like, you know, when your heart sinks and it feels like it's going into your stomach, you feel this feeling. And as you touch maybe part of the body or the bones for the first time, you pause, like you can't move, and your body kind of goes into paralysis for a moment as you feel like screaming. You feel this horrible pain that something violent and malicious has happened. And it seeps into you, and almost like a darkness. For a moment, you feel like elated, like happy. So you went from a moment of like feeling like disgusted and horrified and scared to like almost a sensation of like euphoria. And you just start busting out laughing like and Elena sees this.
I imagine it's something like I'm talking, and like when I'm talking, it's kind of this sort of procedural. And it looks like here we have what I'm noticing, that the incisions here are very specific, and it's this kind of like just sort of going on, and like I wonder what sort of person would be going on in their mind when they would do this, how you would, and then I imagine I touch it, and all of a sudden
You pause.
and it's just still, and I imagine perhaps all the color drains from my face, and I imagine I drop the scalpel, it just sort of clatters,
And you
and
hear
hits
it
the ground,
clanking. Yeah.
and I'm like, and it's just this stillness of probably something really awful, shamed, like just coming out of nowhere, these feelings. And then and then like as this joy and elation sort of hits me and I'm in it, and then all of a sudden I start realizing that I'm laughing, and like probably my eyes get very disturbed and distressed, and I feel like what's happening, as it sort of perhaps dies out.
Dr. Cologne, is everything all right?
I dropped my scalpel.
Yes, you did. And you just had a fit of laughter. Are you...
I don't think I laughed. And I go to pick up a new scalpel. The body, defensive wounds. Put you to a toxicology.
You look at the nails. It doesn't look like she's clawed into anything. You don't see any like materials there.
I suspect the answer is no, but I'm going to look to see if there are hesitation marks in the incisions. If whoever did this, perhaps, hesitated before they did this, and I imagine I just don't see them. But like, this is terribly gruesome. And so I'm kind of looking for some sort of, and this is where I'm trying to get enough information that I can give it to Elena, because I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't know people that well, clearly, because I haven't gotten them to the trivia night yet, but I've gotten these feelings, and I don't understand people as well. So I'm trying to get as much physical information so that I can maybe relay. How do I put this? I had a bunch of feelings. Don't like that. I would like to share those feelings with Elena, but they're not going to make any sense. So I'm like, okay, how can I parse those feelings into concrete medical things? Like, okay, well, maybe, so there wasn't defensive wounds, there were no hesitation marks, or there were, but then there weren't. Like, I'm trying to figure out, because science, I'm trying to sort of put this in a context that seems rational
It's
and not
almost
supernatural.
Like the cuts along the body are almost like someone just like punched a hole and took like, it's like perfect.
Yeah.
It's like someone punched a hole and took a part of her skin off.
Just like, boop.
Yeah,
Uh,
poop. It's crazy. You know, when you were a kid, you used to play what's the little doctor game? What's it called?
Operation.
Operation.
Mhm.
It's almost like that opening there where it's like perfectly open. You can see all the body parts. It's creepy. And for you, that is very strange. But something that you do notice as you're like turning over the body, you
The
do
body must
notice
have
that
been moved,
there's
right?
a tattoo on her arm here. It looks like a triangle.
There's a tattoo of a triangle, and I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of just
Mhm.
narrating. But what I'm really trying to do is to get this feeling thing, finding some kind of way to ask you what kind of person would do this, but I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, and I'm trying to work it out. And like, I'm thinking, I suppose one of the questions I would ask is, was the body moved? If the blood is not in the apartment, that sort of implies, because this was like that maybe that the body was killed somewhere else and moved back on site. I'm trying to sort of see if there's like indication of that.
From looking at it, it does kind of seem like that to you, that possibly
Yeah.
it's just too clean. Like when you
Yeah.
look at the photos of the crime scene, there's no blood. Where is
Yeah.
the blood? That's probably the weirdest
Yeah.
thing for you is like, there's not going to be blood splatter if there's no blood. So did
Yeah.
the murder not happen here is kind of your thought processes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then but I'm trying to get to this other thing. Like, so, Elena, I'm seeing here that there are no defensive wounds, so perhaps this was done post-mortem. And I'm seeing indications medically from forensics that perhaps the person who did this might have initially felt horror at their actions, but then I'm thinking you can see from the placement of the body here that then perhaps they felt elation and joy. Maybe you could tell me what kind of person what could you tell me about the kind of person that would do that sort of, because this is just in the body itself that you can see that this person would feel this way and then this other way. And I think that the thing is that this is exactly how Orlando had felt in that moment where Orlando was a little bit checked out. And like what Orlando does is describe exactly all the feelings that he had, but is sort of framing them as like, oh yeah, you can tell this from the body because of incision.
And Elena, when he was going through these emotions, you felt them. You saw
Right.
and felt them. Like you felt the scared, horrified feeling that he felt, and then the moment of like elation and joy that he felt afterwards. And now you feel confusion.
Yeah. Yeah, Elena too, I think, is just kind of uneasy about all of this. She's been very quiet and just kind of taking notes as Dr. Cologne is going through everything. And she's just been like a silent observer. And when he asked this question, she just kind of like shakes her head a bit. I don't know who would do something like this. I don't know. But there must be something that we can do to look into this. I can go get more notes on her, and maybe we can look into this deeper.
There's a tattoo, and I sort of like
Yeah.
indicate the tattoo. I sort of take a photo and I text it to her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the only thing that seems out of place here. Everything
A
else seems so
triangle.
perfect and sterile.
How old is this tattoo?
Ooh. It looks new. Like maybe within the last year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go through like the organs. I'm going to think about like if it's been movement. I'm really trying to. I'm not an FBI profiler. I don't know people that well, but I'm trying to work up a profile of at least what kind of skill, what kind of implements, what kind of weapons. And I really need Elena, and it's really becoming asking her about like people, right? Like, okay, well, it looks like they're very skilled. What would that tell you? And I sort of frame it like
Right.
as you might talk to an intern, but really I do not know. And I'm trying to figure out like they must have this skill, but what
Would I have an idea, Maggie, if this was some sort of like repeat or this like seems like a trend of some type of person or anything that I would gather from this?
For you to know that, you'd have to go look into like other case studies and see like or cases and see if there were any correlations. Off the top of your head, you don't know of any, but like you could definitely go research this. This is something you could go see what that tattoo means. You could research that. You could go see if there were other types of murders that had this similar, basically like strange body organ replacement or incisions.
Removal.
You could definitely go look at other cases that might correlate
And
to this.
I think I'm trying to get her to give me a sense of personality, right? Because, right, like what kind of person would do this, right? Because I've just had this like weird mixed emotion situation, which is freaking me out. And this is just so like, I can tell you medical details, I can tell you science, but I feel like she might help me understand personality.
Yeah, with your social sciences, you could correlate things like this with certain types of people, right? This is probably someone who has knowledge, maybe of medical knowledge. This is somebody who clearly knows how to take care of and ensure that body parts or organs are handled in a certain way, right? Like there might be some things that you can place.
Yeah, based on this, it seems like a person who might be very organized and meticulous about probably their entire life, not just, maybe they keep things, they are organized in the way they fold their clothes, the way they do their daily things, the way they dress. Maybe they are, they clearly have an education and knowledge of how to do these things. You are able to examine this yourself and see that this person knows what they're doing. They must have maybe some sort of medical background of sorts.
Maybe technological, I don't...
Perhaps that as well.
We should, after I finish up, I will show you how the paperwork goes. I will hand it off to you. We should get a drink.
Yeah, I think after this, I think that would probably be best. I'll take all of this paperwork and do the filing and maybe do a little bit more looking into this tattoo.
It looks soon. Tattoo parlors.
Yes.
Do I get a sense of what implement was used to do this? Was this a surgical implement? Was it something else? Did not seem like a hacksaw.
That's a good question.
It was something delicate for sure. It seems like the incisions are perfect. Like I said before, it almost feels like laser precision, but there's no burn marks that would happen with that, right?
Question, and this is, I don't want to ask this question because I feel like the answer is going to be supernatural and creepy, but we're playing a horror game, so I will, because that's what it is. You said it's like a laser incision. I know laser incisions, but it's not because the thing's out there. So it's like, well, it's not a scalpel, it's not a laser. It's like laser precision, but it's not a laser. So that does not seem like, I'm going to assume
strange to you.
Seems strange. Yeah.
You have not seen that before.
That's not what I wanted you to say. That's totally what I wanted you to say. And I was like, and I'm like, things like, well, trying to like, and like, you can see this kind of confusion, like, well, it's not this. And like, there's a lot of like unknown instrument. But like, and also, did this happen when she was alive?
When you're focusing on the instrument in particular, you feel that sense again of laughter, and you just start laughing again.
And I think it's like the and like it's like a little bit of like a hyperventilation, and I go to reach, and then I know I can't smoke in here. So like there's the fact that I don't have the things that I normally have is stressing me out, and I'm like and I looked to see if Elena's still here because I was afraid that she was going to leave for the paperwork, and then she's not here, and I was like and I'm like, it's not a laser. It looks like it looks with the precision of the laser, but it's not a laser. It's unknown.
Yeah.
Um,
And you feel that, Elena, when he has that emotion again of elation when he's thinking about the tool. You can feel it inside, and it's like this kind of intense, uncomfortable laughter. And then afterwards, you feel him feeling uncomfortable. Like he's like, "What am I doing? Like, what's happening to me?" Almost. And Dr. Cullen, you look at the body some more, and you do realize that it seems that perhaps initially this person was harmed or knocked out in some way. They definitely were afraid. They were scared. But from looking at the wounds, from what you can tell, maybe she was dead before the full-on carving of her and the taking of the organs happened.
and I'm gonna look for
from just what you have in
Yeah.
front of you, which is hard to really tell.
And I'll do a toxicology to see if she was drugged. I'll look to see if there's like a head injury or strangulation marks, just kind of get a sense of like maybe how that would have happened. And once I sort of finish up that, the report, I'm going to try to get out, take Elena with me outside for a drink, go to the pub, cigarette, like just, we have to get out of the place because I'm having all the smells, and I don't like it's just like there's something like I'm very disturbed by what's happening with my feelings, and I'm like,
You haven't even
Elena.
gotten to the organs yet.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh,
Oh God.
I'm gonna open them up, and like I'm like, just don't have anybody bite. There's no bite marks. You know what I mean? Like that's just like that's the feeling. It's like just no bite marks.
Yeah, you feel like anxiety happening, Miller. Like you feel that, or Dr. Cologne is having like almost like a little bit of an anxiety, like a minor anxiety attack, as he's like opening one of these or like coolers and going like, please don't be bite marks. Please don't be bite marks. Which organ are you going to open? They're all labeled.
I'm going to go with the heart,
Okay.
and I'm going to look to see
Going for the heart first.
heart first, like incisions, blood, right? Like
You snip
yeah.
the seal on it. These are all sealed to ensure that like if a seal has been broken, then you know that somebody has tampered with evidence. You snip the seal on it. You open it up. You hear the sound of that like as like the cooler opens up, and you don't really get a sense of smell immediately. It's almost that cleanly smell that you've smelled a million times. Like you're probably so used to it that you don't even smell it anymore. And you can see it's in kind of like this like almost orangey brown liquid. And you have your gloves on, and you go in and you gently kind of like move it around to look at it, and you're not taking it fully out of the container, but you're kind of like moving around to look at it. It looks perfect. It looks oddly perfect. Like a healthy heart does not look like, it has been damaged. It doesn't look like she has like any heart conditions. There's no like hole in her heart type of thing. From first examination, you can see like any of the cuts that were to veins and things like that are like perfect.
This is like the organs that you have that are not real organs when
Like
you're
the
in medical
testes,
school,
yeah.
and they're
I
the
was
test
about
organs.
to say, it almost looks like these were ready to go on display somewhere at one of those
Yes,
kind of medical conventions or something.
yes. I'm going to look at the organs and then the bottom of her feet, her fingers, all parts of her body to look for signs of wear and tear, because I'm feeling concerned that I might not see them. This person
It's
is,
almost too perfect.
it's too perfect. Early 20s, this person probably should have evidence of having been alive for 22 years, and I'm feeling a little freaked out. It's just this kind of like, because it's when Elena says that it's a little bit too new. It's like, right. And once she says that, I'm like, I need to check.
Yeah, you go to let go of the heart, but as you go to let go of it, you feel again a intense feeling. You have a moment of You're really afraid. Your heart's racing. You just hear the heartbeat like just beating and beating and beating and beating and beating. And then all of a sudden it just stops.
Maybe the fear is not, maybe it wasn't. And it's like, this is not a thing. And this is what I say. Looking at the incisions in the heart, maybe those two different feelings I was telling you that could have been from the killer. Maybe they're actually, maybe the fear was the victim and then the elation was the killer. And I think you can see that in the incisions on the ventricle here. Clearly, this is just the way the incisions work. That you, I feel like you could see that that those feelings might work. There might be two different people. Which also you could see that in the liver, and like it's like putting down the heart, going to some other organ, and it's just clearly trying to justify these feelings in terms of.
And Elena, you heard.
Yeah.
You felt like that heart racing, like the moment of being afraid. And as you look, Dr. Cologne, at the feet, it does look like she has some like pads on her feet that she's walked. And where was the other place that you were looking at?
It's like feet, looking at skin, like especially the face for indications of like, having lived a life.
Yes, her skin looks really nice. In comparison, I mean, it is almost gray right now and like sunken in and taut, like because there's no blood in there. So it's a little creepy in that sense and like sunken in. But the skin itself, aside from maybe like a couple blemishes from like maybe what you would assume would be acne, it doesn't appear that she has any like major skin conditions. She only has that one tattoo. It's like on her forearm. It's a triangle, and her hands look really gentle. Maybe she doesn't have to like use her hands to do anything rough. She has like nice nails. None of them are broken or edged.
And how are her nails? Are they done?
Yeah, like they look nice. Like I said, her nails look nice. None of them are broken. Her
manicured?
Yes, manicured. Like probably she's one of those people who every 4 weeks gets her nails done. They look nice.
Yeah.
And actually her nails are the one thing that kind of stands out because they are like this beautiful color, maybe like a light pink, and they're well kept. But the rest of her skin is kind of, that pale, like almost gray, and it's like sunken in because there's no blood.
I'm going to lift her hand so that Elena can see. And I was like, does this color mean anything to you? Because I feel like maybe Elena might know good manicure shops, or
oh,
you know what I mean? Like she might know something about, she might be like, for all I know, she might know really good manicure shops or really trashy manicure shops, or if that particular color is from a place. And so like, these are things like she might know this, like, and I will also smell to see if she's wearing perfume, if she's wearing makeup, was like she was going out. And if there's anything I can note, then I can maybe show it to Elena.
Doesn't look like she has any makeup, maybe like a little bit of foundation. And the other question was perfume.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell it. There's a lot of other smells happening here.
Yeah, but she doesn't look like she was like going.
But you can take swatches,
like
you take some swatches of her skin, and you like put it into like some vials.
And also sort of toxicology, putting all that stuff in, getting.
Yeah, you take some skin grafts and you put them in and especially like under the nails, you're like picking because maybe there might be something. Maybe she grabbed something, touched something.
Yeah, mouth, everything.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're doing all of that whilst you're.
And I'm handing, and I'm making sure that Elena can see because that's like the.
And
also,
those
she's a
test
pedicure.
results sometimes can take anywhere from 24 to a week. It depends on like what you're looking for specifically.
It looks like the manicure. It's hard to tell. Maybe she was. It's not like on the levels of professional, but it's kind of more just like fun. Maybe she is more like a college girl that likes to go out type thing. That's what I would gather from that.
Okay. And because he's thinking like if her body was moved, maybe she was out somewhere and like at a club or something. So he's just trying to figure like where she could have been. And
it could have been more party girl type of manicure. That's what I would get from that.
But he has, but he's like, I don't know that well. She might. And so he's just trying to use her expertise on, I don't know what college girls do, because he does not know those things. And after going through all the organs, to sort of get a sense of how they worked, what they did. I think he'd finish the report and sort of go to try to take Elena with him to the bar to meet up with the
Yeah.
crew.
Yep.
And as we close out of the medical examiner's location, we see this, very sterile, almost like square brick, like not brick, but like tan building with little enclaves of like windows and, the flags kind of standing out in the front. And the two of you walk to your doors, or to your cars, to your doors, to your cars. Go ahead.
Immediately get my cigarette out, and the minute we get out of the building, and I'm like, I'll drive. Come over here.
Sure.
And I take you to my car, which, if I have permission, I will show you. It's super awesome. Everybody loves it.
Are you posting a link in our
Yes,
chat?
please. In the Twitch, if you don't
in the
mind.
Twitch. Okay.
Mhm.
I have to grab your name out of here.
It's a nice, like a 1951 Ford, good classic
Can you type in the chat really quick so I can grab it?
The Ford
ambulance.
Falcon.
It's a 1951 Ford ambulance is what it is.
Great, that's
my
better.
gosh, no.
There you go. It's in,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh, nice.
Ecto 1, here we go.
You hear the
That was a
door
hearse.
open, and Elena knowingly has seen this vehicle before.
Yep.
Just opens the door,
You could not
smiles.
see
The
it.
two of them get inside, and you hear the door close behind them. And that is where we see them driving off. We're going to fade to black for our break. Perfectly on time. We're going to take a little 8-minute break to get some water and get a breather, consume all of the things that just happened. And we're going to be going to a trivia bar. That's not where I
Trivia
thought this was going to
bar.
go, but that's where we're
Yeah.
going.
Oh, you know.
Look, there's trivia, there's like telling people all the secrets, figuring out our plan, and then maybe answering questions about Friends, like season 1. We don't know.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. All right. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Parallel Killer. We're back from our break. Quick recap. We had Dr. Cologne and Elena Miller looking at what possibly might be a murder victim.
Definitely murder.
Yeah.
Definitely murder.
And on the other side of it, Agatha and Avery were, well, given a little bit of a heads up. Agatha was given a premonition, and whilst Avery was going on about how his podcast might not be doing as well as it should be, Agatha was providing some maybe tips on what he could do, but in that conversation had herself a little bit of a premonition and shared this with Avery, and which Avery then shared it with Dr. Cologne, which then Dr. Cologne referred to the current victim that he is looking at.
It was a typo.
Things seem to be coinciding. The four of them have agreed to meet up at a local bar for trivia night. They're meeting up a little bit earlier than the trivia night starting. I'm assuming the trivia starts at like 9 o'clock, but you guys show up right after work. Work ends around like 5 p.m. So
That's why Betty doesn't want to go, because she's going to miss the voice.
Yeah.
Exactly. Betty doesn't want to go because Betty really wants to watch The Voice,
Now
but
there's wine. Now there's
Elena-
But
wine.
I promised her
Elena
a
convinced her
wine
some
flight.
wine. What is the name of this place that you're wanting to go to, Dr. Cologne?
Oh, I imagine this is a bar that's actually quite near the medical examiner's office. So it's downtown. So it's one of these bars that you remember when Elena said it's not going to be that like big party place. I think that's true, because I think it's one of those kind of like people go there after work. So I think it's a lot of like medical examiners, bureaucrats, people who work in admin at the in this county at the at the
Government.
government. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's that kind of a place. And I think it'd probably called something like
There are quite a few bars. There's like this
yeah.
Output Lounge that's more like a lounge bar. Are you looking for
Yes.
like a 3, like cost-wise, like really costly, or more like on the cheaper end? Are we looking for like the 5-star or a lower end?
Oh, that 5 stars a lot. I don't think that he would recommend a 5-star place, because even though he is a medical examiner and has money now, he did not grow up
Let's
with a
go
lot of
with
money.
Output Lounge then. It's kind of
Yeah.
in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is kind of low key hangout.
Mhm.
They have food, they have lunch, they have TVs, they have DJs, they have
Perfect.
patio.
Specials. Yeah.
They're a dine-in. They have curbside pickup. They are 4.4 star if you're looking at it on Yelp or something like that. I feel like in 2018 we're still looking at Yelp. And yeah,
Still going places.
Yeah.
that's why I was like, we're gonna set this in 2018 because I want it to be pre the.
So you can actually go places.
Yeah. And so with that, yeah, it's kind of it's pretty close to the Cook County Examiner's office too, so it's not too far away.
Mhm.
Cool. That's the one we'll go to then.
And it's like immediate smoking. Like the minute we get like out of the building and like sort of driving in my old ambulance. So we're going to meet some friends of mine, just so you know, early.
Okay. Okay.
They're great people. Avery, he's this music nerd, great, very good with trivia. He's my normal, regular trivia partner, but we just can't make a team.
Oh, is that the podcast guy?
Yes. Do you know him?
Oh God. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know him.
We're really good friends.
Oh, great. Cool. I'm sure that'll be fun. Okay. And who's the other friend?
Driving. Driving. And you can just feel a lot of really mixed emotions going on right now.
Are they really
Yeah.
friends? That's the question that you're getting there.
They know each other, but
Yeah.
I don't know that they're friends. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm picking up. You don't have to tell me. It's fine. I will be surprised. I can already tell it's
Yes.
probably someone. Yeah, don't even like. She'll like try to stop you before you even say anymore. It's fine. I just figured we could talk about this case a little bit. I know we're not supposed to talk about it outside of the office, but it's okay.
Okay.
I won't say anything. Like, what was that? Oh, there was a lot. There was a lot to take in that. You've invited me to observe a lot of these different forensics and people that are brought in, but I don't know. I've never seen something that clean before.
No, I don't understand how that could happen. It's strange. Also deliberate. So Avery is knows things like this nationally. If something like this had happened I feel like you don't do this once, and if it has happened in some other place, I bet Avery would know. If
you think he's gonna be able to help?
Yeah, I mean he knows so many things. He
knows about weird facts on Wikipedia and things. Like, I don't know how much that's going to be able to help us.
Well, if there's some sort of something happening in Detroit or St. Louis, someplace, he'd probably know if there was a pattern,
All right. I guess we'll give it a shot.
Hey, it would be really great if not that, because it's not our job, we don't have to worry about it. I mean, I'm not worried about this at all. It's really not affecting me in any kind of a way, this thing. I'm not thinking about anything, feelings, something. It's fine. I'm just, did the autopsy, we're done. Just waiting in for results. But there is a case file, and I do know that you seem to have friends over there at the and I don't know, maybe I could talk to people to get, I'd just be interested in what was on there, because it doesn't make sense to me, and I have a hard time figuring out how I'm going to write this report just fully without, I'm going to use my turn signal because turn signals are important. So.
Yes, I can look into getting that case file. No worries.
Okay.
One other thing that I just kind of wanted to throw out there. I don't know. I have a pretty easy sense of like feeling people's moods, and it's just kind of something that I pick up on pretty easily. You had a few moments in there. It was something that you saw maybe when you were looking at that body that made you go into a completely different mood almost. You began laughing. I noticed particularly it was when you were looking at the incisions. And was there something about that
No. I'd like to use my reassure skill on myself.
Do you feel that you are maybe a little unstable?
I don't know what that was. I do not recall laughing, at least starting laughing, and then I was laughing, but I don't remember starting laughing, and that is freaking me out.
Yeah, let's do a roll.
Yeah.
So, stability checks are kind of like, what is your mental stability? How stable are you? And often I will make these happen whenever you're having those weird moments, but I didn't want to put that all on you at first, and it ramps up really quickly.
Yeah. I feel like it's not the body that would cause that stability roll. It's now she's asked me about it out loud.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Yeah, now that you've had a moment to think about it versus being in the situation. So currently you have 10 points in stability. How this section works is that I am going to set a difficulty number. I think this is about a 3 difficulty that you have, or average is like 4. So I would say this is about a 4 difficulty that you need to beat. So you need to beat a 4 or higher. So you're going to roll a 1d6. You cannot add any points to it if you think, 1d6 is enough. Or you can add some points to it. Now, this will lower your points. So, for instance, if you have 10 and you spend 2, you'll be down to 8. Do keep your 10 as like your max, but you have 8. You can refresh these over time. Usually, stability requires like a shrink or something to assist you dealing with your mental health.
And I think, my hand is shaking, like when I go to sort of smoke, you can see my hand is shaking. And I think there are 2 things here. One, I might need those points for later,
Yeah.
when
it
other
ramps up,
things
sure.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think, and this is like a weird thing because it's like meta, not meta, but I also think that Orlando thinks it's fine. He's still in the kind of like, no, it'll be fine. So I do not think that he would like spend the extra reserves of inner core strength on the
Sure.
stability roll, because I think he's like, no, it's fine. I feel like there's a little bit of denial.
There will be a negative effect if you do not pass.
Right. And they'll be great because I have an empath here. And so I feel like that will be, if I do not pass, I will be useful as well, I think. I roll.
Yep.
Go
Roll
roll.
1d6 for me. Our first roll of the session only took
pressed
2
the button.
hours.
It might be slow. It might be slow. Let me do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. I think we're going to get 3 in a row. There seems to be a bit of a delay.
Sometimes roll 20 lags out.
Sometimes roll 20 is like a little slow and exciting. Because I went 3 times, but
Oh, we're just seeing you now join the game.
I would never say anything about roll 20.
my first roll was
no.
my first roll was a 4.
Oh,
was a
we're not
4.
seeing any rolls yet.
Oh no, those are all your rolls. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
these are all my
Those-
rolls.
Those are
You just joined the game for us. Like
I just refreshed.
Oh, okay.
Try another.
Try
Yeah, I'm
another
gonna try it
roll.
again.
Yeah, because we don't see any rolls for you.
There we
you
go.
A 2.
2.
This is good. I actually think it's useful for me to fail this roll right now because
You're going to take 2 negative stability points. So remove 2 from
Mhm.
your max. You're at 8.
Yep.
And the effect of this is that you are not stable. It is not going the way that you
Yep.
think it is. Something weird is happening. You're unsure of it. And for the first time, someone has brought it to your attention.
Yeah. And so I can't just pretend like it's not happening. And it was a lot. So I think that actually this is the moment where that
Maybe
failure.
it's the first time you've ever
Yeah.
opened up to anybody about this.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even
Yeah.
think it was a thing, really.
No.
Right?
Yeah. And so like as we're driving and you said this thing and I'm like, well, I mean, I don't think I don't. And then I just pull over because I realize that I'm not like my driving's a little
Yep.
bit erratic. I'm like, look, there was nothing. Do you feel roll down the window? It's like the roller because it's like old
Yeah.
school.
I'll roll down mine too, just because I can tell that. Yeah. Hey, it's okay. You know what? It was a lot to process, so you don't have to figure it all out now. I just thought I would ask about it and make sure you're okay.
No. I'm not okay.
Yeah. I don't think I am either.
If I told you something, would you I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. But if I did tell you something, which I'm not going to do because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Okay. You can tell me. Look, we both were kind of had this weird experience together where we saw something and felt weird things after it.
I did. I felt really. I had feelings they didn't feel like mine. They felt like they came from somewhere else. They weren't. They came over me, but they felt like they weren't actually my feelings. And I just felt like I felt scared, like someone was trying to kill me. And then I felt like I felt so much joy in like killing someone. And I felt it didn't feel like my feelings. And that's not a thing. I know it's made up. It's not how things work. I know it's.
I want you to know that I felt them too, which you may not believe. So you're telling me this, and I'm telling you that I know it doesn't sound right, but I felt the scared and then the happiness, and then I did too. So that's why I'm so intrigued by all of this. And now I know those weren't your feelings, but maybe the feelings of the situation. I don't know. This is a lot. This is a lot to process.
Okay, I have to tell you one more thing. This is really important. The
Okay.
person we're going to go meet, the other person today, is an Agatha Smith, and she
Oh, yes.
makes me nervous because she sometimes comes in with tips that really she should not. She was arrested once. It was fine. There's no.
We
But-
see her a lot at the
Oh, you-
office when she gets arrested, and we have to charge, go through all the stuff and
So-
release her. Yeah.
So she's going to be there, and okay, I'm just going to tell you because, and I just hand over my phone, and then I take it back and I unlock it and I hand it back over to you, and then I take it back and I actually get the message and I then hand it back.
Okay.
You see the text messages from an Avery Cohen. Is that his name in your phone? Yeah. Or do you have another name in there?
What is it?
No.
No?
What is it?
What's the name?
A dog with the
A
W.
dog. You see a dog with a W.
It's a dog. Yeah.
Um, And in this text
In a
message,
hyphen. A hyphen.
Oh, a hyphen dog with
Dog.
a W.
Yeah.
And you can see an image. It looks like a drawn sketch of kind of what you saw today, but instead of it being all in pieces, you see it like a body and then the organs on the right hand side of it, and just almost bulletin points of like details
And as
and
she's
then
doing
a
that,
back
I
and
keep
forth
driving again.
from
so we can.
Dr. Colin, where he's kind of having a conversation with Avery a little bit.
I check the timestamps to make
Mhm.
sure it's like before,
Mhm.
and then, not this is something that happened later. Like, okay, this is
It was actually
Okay.
before the body even came in, when you were still in your office too.
okay.
You know the time frame here. It is probably about 30 to an hour before, 30 minutes to an hour before you even heard about the details of this.
So he knew that you were going to get this exact body of this girl.
And I probably say this as I'm parking and we're heading towards the lounge, and I say, "No, she knew. I know that's from her. I know that's from her. I know it."
And you can see the conversation where he actually asks, "Is this from Agatha?" And Avery
Yeah.
says,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
confirms.
So, okay. This is she connected somehow then?
And I open the door for you.
I always said I didn't trust her. So, whenever she comes in, I'm the one that has to do her paperwork, and, some of the things that she says she sees, I just don't know if she actually sees them.
Put the
We
phone.
should be careful around her. That's all I'm saying.
Waving at them over, probably in the booth.
Yeah, we're sitting at a table somewhere. Yeah. the
Yeah,
two of
you
us.
come up to
Wait.
you park next to the building. It takes you a little while to find a parking spot because downtown Chicago, not the easiest. But you see
And
kind
I have a long car.
yeah, you see the little umbrella type of thing that is always around buildings like that, and it says Output Lounge on it. You see some little fairy lights along the edges of it. In the window, there's a large window that you can see people kind of in there, and the bar. And there's a little bench next to the door, and you go in. You wave as you're walking by on the sidewalk. Avery and Agatha, you did you drive separately or together?
I think Agatha has an adorable car.
It's
Circumstantially.
far too small a car.
Yes.
Ooh.
Probably
Like a Geo Metro small, or how small?
I'm not a car person, so
Okay.
If you want to go vintage, you could do a 1960s Mini Moke, which is super, super tiny.
I think it's more like maybe a older sibling Subaru that's been passed
Yeah.
down or something like
Yeah,
that. It's we
yeah.
get good mileage.
yeah,
mileage.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It's just a car that's been well taken care of, but not by her at any point.
Yeah.
No.
But also actually by her, because I have mechanic skills. So when it breaks down, she can fix it, but she doesn't do anything to fix the parts that are or gonna break. You know, what I
Are
mean?
there any conversations that happen between Agatha and Avery, or is it kind of like a quiet drive there, or is it more like there's small banter but nothing that you want to RP out?
I imagine we're blasting like Dead Can Dance or something like on the
Yeah,
way
Music,
over.
yeah, okay,
Like,
jamming out. I
we're
like
getting
it.
in the vibe.
Okay,
Yeah.
the two of you
well,
are.
and because we're both I think the cool thing about these two together is they're both enthusiasts in a way that isn't official. So the idea of like meeting with the official people to talk about
like-
the official thing, I think there's a little bit of conversation from Agatha that's like, this will make a good episode once it's, you know, like not public record, like not like off the public record, so to speak. I think this will be a good one.
Save my career.
Perfect. Yeah,
Every episode could save Avery's career. I feel like that's like a con.
Yes,
perfect.
It's make or break.
You're just
Yeah.
you're just having a
Yeah.
great time, rocking out to music, and I think you two arrive early because you guys were wrapping up your stuff. The other two were kind of doing
Yeah.
a bunch of paperwork, the bureaucracy of it all. You two get in. You can see the same thing as them when you're going in, except for obviously you don't see them in the window. You see a bar. Do you get a drink immediately, or are you just gonna go sit at a table?
I think Aggie is the person who would order a drink, you know, some esoteric, you know, craft beer.
Yeah.
Water for me for now.
Yeah.
You order a
Well,
craft
I-
beer.
I
there's-
think she offers to pay for you as well, like if you want to get like an actual drink. You know what I mean?
Do you get one?
I appreciate that. We'll see a little later in the evening how I'm feeling.
Yeah, keep a clear head. I get it. Yeah, she
So you go
says
to the bar,
reassuringly.
you order your drinks. You turn around and there are a couple different tables that you can go sit at. There's also tables outside in a back patio, so you can kind of decide: are you going to go in the back patio, or are you going to go inside and sit?
Inside to start.
Okay.
I was gonna say less distraction.
The tables have like this black tablecloth over them. It looks like it's just to make it easy to clean. The chairs and the tables themselves are like just like this old, dark, like oak wood. Nothing too fancy. There's like scratches on them. It looks like definitely people have used and abused these chairs in the past. And you go ahead and sit down. You take your drinks and you drink. Is there anything you want to say before Elena and Dr. Cullen show up?
I tell Agatha, I say, I don't know if Orlando's bringing any friends tonight. Typically it's just us, but we'll see what happens this week to set
Sure.
up the inevitable reveal.
Sure. More people, it's fine as long as we can keep, you know, on topic. It's kind of a big deal, and I don't want to be too distracted. She's digging through her pockets, like the pockets in this like long skirt of hers.
Yeah. And I let you know, and I kind of outreach my hand just in reassurance, you know. I just say, like, hey, it's going to be okay. And anyone that Orlando brings is someone who would be trusted to be part in our private conversations, and we can confide in. I'm sure it wouldn't be anyone that bears any ill feelings to us or thinks of us in any sort of negative light.
Yeah, no, of course. I trust, and she sort of like lets the hand sort of stay out, but doesn't like reach over to like touch. And sort of like her voice is a reassuring, like, yeah, no, I agree with you. Totally, just it'll be fine. I just
Is it? Does
the
Agatha actually think it's going to be fine?
I think she's much more difficult to shake than her voice and manner makes her seem like she is. You know, she's a sort of like a relatively disorganized person, and that comes across in her like manner.
But at true
But-
nature, does she actually believe that?
Maybe not. I mean, this
Avery,
is
with
a
your
pretty-
bullshit detector, you can tell that maybe there's not a full truth in what she's saying.
Got it. It's one of those things though where with Agatha, whatever she says, I'll answer at face value, but imply that if there's more you want to share when you're ready, I believe you.
I think in the idle moments, like between us sitting down and having like a little bit of conversation, and the doctor and Elena coming in, Agatha has taken out like several small volumes. Some of them look handwritten from her pockets, and has been like looking through some stuff in like
Perfect.
preparation. It looks like it looks like travel sized versions of like specific books, if you know what I mean, that she may have like written herself or otherwise like come across in that way, like just a little bit of a weird sort of preparatory read over,
Yeah.
looking for anything that would be like separating the organs and laying them out like clean, you know.
Okay.
Like rituals, creepy.
Yeah, I think from initial, because you do have, how many points do you have in occult?
3.
3. Yeah, from looking at these initially, this definitely matches up with a lot of the rituals that you've seen in the past. There are many, many rituals that utilize body parts in a ton of different horrendous and also sometimes gentle ways. So you can see that for sure being a thing.
Yeah, I mean, she sort of mumbles to Avery about like, you know, this isn't a canopic jar situation. Like this isn't a, you know, like all the organs, they're not discarding anything, you know, like, and there isn't any like no blood, which I guess she would have seen in the vision, like it's clean.
And you would know that like often blood in rituals can be used to be consumed, or in some cases they can be injected into another being. They can also provide lifelines to certain people. What other things? Some creatures need it to survive. Like,
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of like it lines up with a couple of things, but nothing
drinking other people's blood.
nothing
survive.
entirely. You know, like I don't get an entire read on like this one ritual is the ritual that is happening, kind of thing.
Exactly.
But she sort of does some like prep work while she sips at this beer. Clearly not as worried about getting just like a little bit drunk while she works.
It makes it easier, and I will wait, sort of nod in affirmation, and I'm waiting for the good doctor to reveal himself.
And you see them both in the window, and it does appear that he is with another person.
Do I
Elena,
recognize the person? Oh,
have you? And I don't know. Some of you may have seen Elena before. It appears.
Yes,
Agatha
we
probably
have.
has.
I think
Maybe
I've
I
doesn't
met-
changed
remember.
my glasses,
Yeah.
and I pull out a couple of personal effects. The first is a ring carved from the shell of a Brazilian coconut. The second has an inscription on it, written in the language of Mordor, and my whole demeanor darkens.
while you're like while you're switching stuff out and have like looked over and noticed who it is, Agatha's like busy sort of like closing all these books and tucking them away in like her pockets again. You know,
Yeah,
she
you feel
doesn't
the
do
same.
anything. She doesn't do anything digitally. It's like you could easily just put all this on a phone, but she doesn't do that for whatever reason.
And if you have any other questions, let me. Were there any other questions that you were trying to get from the books? Alf?
No, I just wanted to like set a scene more than learn
Yeah,
anything.
100%. You get that this could possibly be a ritual for sure.
Yeah.
Because you have a 3. That's insane. That's a lot of points. Yeah, so you guys, you can see that there's 2 people in there. Elena, you can see them as you go through the window, and then you guys open the door. Do you get a drink
out my
first
cigarette.
before you sit down? Or, yeah, there's like a little tray that you can put the cigarette out in the front.
I'm gonna go. All right, Elena, what would you like to drink?
Just maybe something simple, a Jack and Coke or something like that.
Okay, I go up. I order a Jack and Coke, a fog cutter, hopefully in a really nice tiki glass,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then also a second tiki, maybe something like a hurricane, maybe
Oh,
for
God.
Avery. So like
You
like
guys are getting, hurricanes are like basically just like sugar. drunk.
and alcohol, but like those things are great together. So I'm gonna get like 2 really good like 1950s style sort of like tiki cocktails, and then also this Jack and Coke. And
Yeah, you come back with like an assortment. Was Dr. Colon at some point a waiter or something like that
Yes.
as a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, you even
Yeah.
hold the glasses kind of in that like way that waiters do
Yeah.
in order to like carry more than one, and you're like, you're ready to go.
Wait, So you're gonna go. Do I have to go greet them by myself?
I was gonna just.
I just maybe I'll just go with you, and then we can go over there together.
Elena nervously
Okay.
waits for you to order all the drinks for the drinks to come, and then you guys can come back.
And
to
I
the table.
wait, and I. There's one pause, and I say, "What do you think? I should order for Ms. Smith.
Oh, I don't.
What do you think is her drink?"
Oh, does she even drink? Question mark. I
Meanwhile, Avery has called out waiter 32-ounce margarita fun bags, like the giant Capri Sun things, and it's just like, bring it over.
I'm going to get her something. I'm going to get her a cocktail that's an old lady cocktail. So I think I'm going to get her something that has like a Saint Germain in it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's maybe a little bit floral. And I was like, and so they come in with these like 4 cocktails.
Oh my gosh.
Actually,
Jack
Dr.
and Coke.
Cologne, you do have a pointed notice, so I will give this to you. You see when you like look over at what Agatha has in front of them, her, you see that she has a like what looks like beer. It looks like a kind of one of those things of beer. A glass of beer.
I wouldn't take her.
Let me get a second one of what she's having. So I'm going to order like a second one of what she already has because the bartender knows. And like, I give a good tip to the bartender because we know what that's like. And then I come in with I see sunglasses on Avery. It's like, everyone, this is my colleague, a brand new intern. She's been here with us for a few months. This is Elena.
And
Avery.
good evening, Miss Mueller.
Miller.
Thank you.
That's what I said.
And this is Ms. Agatha Smith, who you have seen in our office before.
I've
Yes.
been around a few times. Yeah, I think we've met before.
Yep. I remember you. Can't forget you.
And I put all the alcoholic beverages down, like very professionally, like in the way that you're supposed to if you're a waiter, like on the side. And then I sort of sit myself down.
Yeah, Aggie slides over and provides room. If it's, I imagine a booth. I don't know
Yeah.
why that's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
They're table. It looks like they're just tables, but we can say that.
Oh,
it's
just
a booth.
tables.
Yeah.
Alright.
Elena sits across from Avery. Don't look at him. So, how are you both? I know it's been a while since since I've seen the two of you in the office.
Pretty well. Pretty well. I mean, other than the whole gruesome murder thing recently, but that's, neither here nor there really as to my personal investment. Yeah.
I slide my phone over to Avery, and it has headphones already put in there because it's the old iPhone that still has the headphone jack.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, headphone jack. Just slides, put the headphones in, slides it over to Avery. Already pushed play, just slides it over.
Yeah.
It is the secret confession of the murder. No, it's actually it's Mary Clayton's version of Gimme
Has
Shelter.
been killing me. They keep thinking they're like, no, it's the doctor. No, it's Agatha. Like,
Look, why
maybe
not all of
maybe
us?
it's the
You don't-
intern.
I think it's all of us.
Yeah.
And it's Mary Clayton's version of Gimme Shelter, right? It's sort of playing, and he's like, I think that's more her song than it is the Stones. So that just
Right. I respect that. Like, they mostly just covered it for
Yes.
maritime tax law purposes anyways.
And he goes, oh wait, and then he just realizes that Gimme Shelter's about a lot of murder, and he's like, oh. And he just like goes to reach to take it back because he realizes the song's actually pretty violent and we're in a bad space right now. It's just like,
Aw.
back.
Yeah, hey,
Sorry.
and it's one of those things where maybe we can ask them to play something a little better in here, a little match the tempo of our heartbeats and less so the fashions of the day.
Yeah. So, Ms. Smith,
Yes.
the drawing that Avery made, that from you. Description? That's
So you do have a victim like that then?
no.
Definitely not.
No.
Were there any particular details that I didn't or that I couldn't relay that maybe you found that might help us?
Hypothetically, this is not going on the record. Yes.
None of this
yeah,
is
make
on the
sure
record.
watch him because he always has those little devices out. I just,
Wait.
They're not so little.
Wait. Do you two know each other?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where did you meet?
That we met. Look, he's come around campus sometimes, and I think he tries to like get some sort of big break or whatever with.
I'm adjunct faculty. AF.
Are you?
It's respectable.
Oh. I didn't. What do you teach?
Survey courses, some such.
Agatha like puts
Sponsor
her
a few
hands.
clubs.
Agatha puts her hands up a little bit and goes like, "I think we're getting a little off track." Here.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just.
So
You're right.
it's not on the record, and also this is clearly under wraps. I don't know why, but
It's pretty gruesome.
that doesn't. I mean, we were told it was classified, and that's a little different.
I feel like Agatha is not at all like keeping up with this hypothetical. She just talks about it like it's the thing that's happening. And she says, we looked into the individual, didn't we, Avery? And found some things.
Just slide out a tablet. Almost it's more to where Elena can fidget with it. I figure she's probably the most proficient with any of these devices anyways. I use them all inefficiently.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on between those two. Like, what's that about?
And did she have any distinguishing marks on her? I wasn't able to ascertain anything based on the vision that was seen.
I reach over and do you have your notebook on the table?
Yeah, I think I would slide the tablet over, then I just pull open the Moleskine journal and like fold it open in front of you.
And then I take
and pop an Altoids and offer one to Agatha.
and I draw the tattoo.
Politely declines.
I draw the tattoo. I'm like, that was on her forearm. It was maybe new, about a year. Also, probably a college student, maybe. Maybe DePaul. She lived near there. Also, this is really bad. This is nothing I can understand.
As soon as you finish drawing the like tattoo, Agatha reaches over and like slides the notebook towards her side of the table and squints at it as if trying to like recall where she may have seen a similar, like triangles are a big theme.
Agatha, immediately when you see it,
Oh no.
with a 3, I'm going to give you immediately what it is.
Yeah.
You look at it and you see that this triangle is often represented as like fire. There are 4 different elements that are usually incorporated in these types of triangles: earth, water, fire, air. Earth is usually like an upside down triangle with like a line through the tip. Water is an upside down triangle. Fire is the triangle upwards, and air is like a triangle upwards with a line through it. So it's very much used in like zodiac things. You've seen it in a lot of rituals and occult stuff as well.
So she takes a minute, she's squinting at it, and then she sets it down and goes like, "Well, it's fire. It's what it is. There are triangles for all the elements, various spread of these things, and this one is fire. If there are other people who have similar tattoos, if this is a recent thing, then the sensible what would you call it, conclusion would be that if they wanted to complete the set, that there would be other people with similar tattoos recently got who are who have the other various markings."
Orlando is a little nervous because we just went from 0 to 60 real fast. We went to like, oh, interesting tattoo. Like there might be a set of people, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, that, like it was just like we just walked into a kind of like a more supernatural space real fast. And Orlando's like,
Yeah,
oh.
and she just says it like anybody should know this. You know what I mean? Like it's fire, idiots. You know,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
So the incisions were done really perfectly. They had like it was like
Agatha, you experienced this and like you saw it.
Yeah, she sort of listens to the doctor's like hesitant testimony about it, having a sort of like a reliving of it, but she doesn't have any of the like empath wise. She probably doesn't have any of the nerves associated, like as many of the nerves associated with it. Like she's super used to seeing weird, horrible things. It's like an almost like jaded sort of vibe.
Yeah, and he normally is jaded, but it's not the body that's the problem. It's the stuff around it. It's like what you're saying right now is the problem, but it's fine. So she's like, there was like it was cut precisely, but the thing is that it was, I couldn't tell what it was cut with. It was like the precision of a laser, but it wasn't a laser because there was no burns. The cells, it wasn't a scalpel. And you can see, right, them sort of like thinking about the body and just like I'm visualizing it and trying to figure it out.
What terrible example could I give of something that definitely doesn't exist that it could have done it? Because I'm sure there's something, you know what I mean? Like in
The Jersey Devil.
Or the chupacabra.
Yeah, like she quotes like
the
some kind of
chupacabra.
she quotes like some kind of cryptid, you know.
I
Yeah.
think the immediate thing that comes to your mind is some kind of devil or demon
Yeah, she says
with a
like
three in a cult. Yeah.
she says that sounds like the way they would record demonic incisions or something devilish, depending on your particular bent. Summonings were done to bring these creatures forth, and then they would perform a task given to them by, under binding by a mortal of some description. These things didn't always go according to plan. It may have been her, and then she summoned this thing, and it binding wasn't done correctly, and then it did what it wanted. She says this all with like a
Nonchalant.
degree of nonchalant belief that is astounding to someone who doesn't think this kind of thing is real, a regular person.
Elena like shifts in the booth and is like, okay, I think that's a little escalated. I don't know if this person would be summoning a demon. This is clearly some sort of precise killer who has the exact tools and instruments needed to get such fine cuts.
Agatha cants her head slightly, like a curious motion, and goes like, but she had the elemental symbol of fire tattooed onto her body. I can't think of anything more directly hellish, than the heat of flame.
Wait. Elena, you're a college student, yes?
Yes.
I'm sure you have college students who are friends.
Yes.
Do they sometimes get tattoos of Chinese characters, but they don't know what they mean?
Symbolic things that they think are cool for aesthetic reasons.
Agatha goes like, as if she hadn't considered that at all.
I look at the tattoo of like the Japanese love symbol on my arm.
I've made that mistake before as I open up the sleeve again.
Yeah. Like it must have significance to her, but like to other, it doesn't have the same significance. And she hadn't even considered social things because she doesn't do that much.
Here's where Avery's thought process is, because he's mostly listening. He'd like to essentially, and it may lead nowhere, but here's sort of his order of operations. It's historical. Is there anything he would know in his vast library of investigating where either cults, individuals, or there were markings left they would tattoo after murdering? Or has he seen anything like this before from a historical perspective where there was this type of killing? That would be an investigative history spin.
Yeah.
If not,
I bet he knows his Jack the Ripper.
In regards to
podcast.
history, nothing like this. Nothing exactly
this.
like this. But
it's new.
there potentially could be cold cases that have not been brought to the public in regards to these type of things. So you wouldn't necessarily have that, but some people here might be able to get that research, right? You guys don't have that on hand, so you will have to go and look for those details. But in regards to historical and things of tattoos, yes, there's tons of history of serial killers, murderers of sorts, especially serial killers, doing these type of things where like they have a pattern, right? Like they do some kind of markings,
Kill in a sequence.
In order to showcase like this is mine, like leaving their mark on a murder for sure. That was your question, right?
That's
was the other
essentially.
part of it?
I was going to see. Essentially, I was trying to unlock a clue, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But that's okay. Where I'm just like, this
for
doesn't
sure,
really
there are cases like that, 100%.
Yeah.
But in the history, you don't have anything specifically like this.
specific.
But there are ways that you could get that information.
Maybe I could add, and I say this to Avery, but there's like a little glance to Agatha. Like, I'm really telling this to Avery, and I don't want Agatha to pop up with answers, but also she might, and then if she does, then I probably need to know them, but I don't want to know them because all her answers are distressing. And I was just, I say,
I'll filter them.
the body was probably not killed. It was found in the apartment, but it was probably not killed there because there was no blood anywhere, none. So I imagine that maybe the body was killed somewhere else and then staged. The killer brought it into the home and then staged everything laid out. So I don't know if you might have some knowledge of serial killers that does a thing like this, but probably she was probably killed somewhere else, maybe. And I don't know, whoever did it probably would have had people to get access to her apartment, but maybe they just had her keys. But and then just kind of like again side-eyeing Agatha, like just afraid that like that Agatha's going to say, well, actually, there's a whole ritual. And I was like, it's just like I'm just afraid there's like a demonic ritual thing happening.
She is clearly waiting for you to take a breath.
Yeah,
because she doesn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Avery would walk through the practicals. If she was killed there, they most likely would have had suction. So if you perform surgery, you can use suction to control the blood so it doesn't spill everywhere. So they'd
Hello,
have
everybody. Sorry
I'm gonna
about
rehost.
that. Literally, my cat turned off my PC again. I made it so he can't be in here anymore. But it's
But
a
your
problem.
cat has opposable thumbs apparently, and is like, I'm just getting in.
He
I don't
lays
care.
on top of the PC and then he leans and he's a big cat, like
Yeah,
he's like
touch
30
the
pounds.
button.
It's
Touch
just
the button.
yeah. He touched the button with his butt.
You missed us admitting who the killer was while we were off stream. It just happened.
Chat may have to help us as to where we got cut off because I'm not sure where our conversation was. We kept going while Maggie was frozen
Oh,
for like
no.
a little while there.
Yep.
There we go.
if we want to do a quick recap, Avery was spouting a bunch of practical theories that would not involve the supernatural, from surgical equipment that would be priced out of a killer's budget, most likely, to killing above a drain, so it's a controlled, very easy to clean space. But you know, we all know Elena's the killer, though. So
well, okay, but point of order, it could be Elena because of the fairy lights in the background, because we know that killers like fairy lights. However, I have got a plastic tarp in my background, which does imply that I could be the killer. So again, I'm just saying that there are possibilities here. Because
I don't see that at all.
I think just start your
I disagree.
conversation. Just start your conversation wherever you guys want to start.
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
I think
roll back into it.
Yeah, I think I would say, but yes, all those things about the blood it's fine. It's just that there was no blood. It wasn't like,
none.
I mean, I was looking at the heart, and there was no blood. There was no blood.
Difficult to think of something that would need all the blood. Some of it maybe, but all of it, it's a very specific amount.
There was none. I mean, nowhere. I could not even get a blood sample. I had to do only tissue because there was no blood, and the organs were perfect, like organs you'd have in pictures in medical textbooks. Perfect.
Yeah.
Not the ones that they show you for smoking. Where you're like, oh, your lungs are so bad because you smoke.
Almost,
And that's not those.
almost like a cadaver. Just
Yes.
no.
Like one of those, those conventions that you would go to and you see like the perfectly crafted organs for medical examination. It was too perfect.
in not
Agatha
a normal way.
taps her chin thoughtfully and then looks over to Avery and says, "I wonder if that other girl has a tattoo like
Which other girl?
She doesn't elaborate, expecting Avery to be the one to do so.
So, we noticed on her IG, her Instagrams, and I kind of go from notebook to tablet, and I slide the tablet over. She had a friend,
And I slide it
they
over
became
to
a
Elena.
couple. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
we take it from Elena to Orlando, back to Elena. It's just kind of like,
Because like
Elena will take charge.
it's like college student, you know about this.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like they seem to have drifted apart at first glance. The other girl, Nancy 101, clever name, original, dynamic, distinguished. Largely only has a collection of feline photos. Nothing real distinguishing. I haven't checked the standard literature or community boards to see if I can create a more formal connection between them. I haven't even been able to obtain a last name.
Maggie, can I scroll through the Instagram and all the social media profiles of these two and see if I pick up on anything that maybe Avery didn't? Being
Are you
like,
mutuals?
yeah, like, are we friends? Like, do we have any mutual friends? Or just like, if I pick up on anything, like,
Are you implying that Avery's not as cool as you are and is not as like hip to the lingo? Because I feel like
Tell you what, I'll put these glasses back on.
He's got a
tried to
Mordor
say that
ring.
as that is actually pretty cool. So I won't lie. But yeah, something
potentially.
more hip, with the college kids.
Yeah, so like explain to me what you're looking for specifically one at a time and I will relay.
Sure.
So I'm trying to bring up all my notes.
So this girl Nancy, can I tell if they were friends or girlfriends, or were they just like, am I able to pick up on if they were dating or if they were just friends?
Ooh, from social cues. Yes.
I mean, like looking at the captions, looking at like
you have a lot of social skills there. In regards to that, yes, it would appear that at some point they were in a relationship from looking at the captions, from looking at the pictures and correlating them. But it seems that perhaps that relationship ended maybe 6 months ago.
Okay. And do I notice any places that they frequent? Any bars that they are at, or any, I don't know, if they go hiking at places, anything like that, like any places that I notice they frequent?
It seems that the college for sure. It looks like they went to DePaul University.
Okay.
They have, like I said before, it looks like they are in some kind of sports team. Maybe like from looking at it now that you've seen it and you go to college there, it looks like maybe they're part of the volleyball team.
Okay.
And some of the girls you might recognize in those photos.
Okay.
Maybe in passing. I don't know how much Elena's into sports.
Yeah.
Can I
But you
just
might have
give a-
seen some of them in academic classes.
Can I give a peek to see if any of those volleyball gals, because I'm just like looking, have tattoos of triangles on their forearms, since
Yeah.
volleyball uniforms don't have sleeves?
Yeah.
You have one point of notice.
I do.
You don't see that any of them do other than her in that photo.
Okay. And then Nancy
Avery.
doesn't have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Avery.
I would say as soon as we find out she's in the volleyball team, on my phone, what I do is I would search for DePaul women's volleyball team rosters, because most of the results would be posted. I'd be checking for Nancy's last name just to try to get it.
Yeah. That's a good point. You with what your skill set
I'd
that
be
you have.
using research.
No problem. Yeah. Her last name is Nancy Tolley.
Ooh, Nancy Tolley.
Where'd I put my
And-
Nancy there?
I didn't notice any other tattoos on Nancy, right? From just
No.
looking at her photos. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, it looks like Nancy and and Elena, or not Elena, Lisa, that's right. It looks like Nancy and Lisa, it looks like they might have broken up. She hasn't posted any pictures. They haven't posted any pictures together. Like
People
6
sometimes
months.
post their food and also other places. Did she post when she got the tattoo?
Do I see anything about like where she got the tattoo? When maybe if she posted like an ink tat or like her, you know,
It
like
doesn't
getting her
appear
tattoo.
that she's made it a public thing. The tattoo.
Nothing about the tattoo.
How old is that volleyball photo? Because she had it in that photograph.
The volleyball photo is probably like within the month. Oops, sorry.
Oh, it's within a month.
Mhm.
There are some people who might know more about her specifically. I don't know if that would help with the actual murderer part, but
Orlando, you do know that there is probably a case file on her that has more
Yeah.
of her information, like where she
Yeah.
like where she lived and who
And the
she
things
lived
I can put
with,
in-
that kind of stuff.
I can put in a request for it, but I just suspect that some people who have there are 4 of us here, and one of these kids is not like the other. One of these kids has social skills, and I suspect that one of these kids with social skills might be able to get access to that file a bit easier than the rest of us. But I'll put in a request.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
also,
just saying.
you know, you can hack things, but you guys do have like an
What?
inside, so
Huh?
so maybe the talkie way is the better way.
Yeah.
Well, we
I'll
don't
do
want to
the-
break any laws.
You know, I mean, I'll do the bureaucracy way, but but that might take a long time.
Hey,
and I'm
I
just
don't
like,
know what you guys want to do. I'm just offering the potential options.
could we kill
Or-
the lead investigator and then just steal the documents and then cut out their organs?
Murder
If that's what
hobo.
you wanna
Not
do.
that I would do, because I'm not the killer.
Here's how Avery would approach it, and his approach is more skunkwork style. You know, his skills are streetwise, flirty, etc. He'd look at the name of the girls, he'd pull up their grams, he would see who's posting recently. Are they posting that they're going out someplace? Are they partying? And then he would say, maybe we can kind of social engineer some information, ask some questions about Nancy and Linda's relationship, or Lisa, and then try to figure out, was there any sign of going on? If that turns out to be a dead end, he would take that information back.
Why do so I'm trying to figure out when this tattoo happened. We know that she had it within the last month, but if she had it longer, and if there's any difference, like if we can figure out when in that timeline she might have gotten it, like she didn't have it here, she did have it here, and if there's any kind of changes in who she was hanging out with, or if there's any kind of differences.
Interesting behavior.
Yeah.
I think Agatha's already thinking about are there any secret, not necessarily secret societies, but like organizations
Yeah.
Yeah.
she might know about that
Yeah.
are, you know, a little more clandestine in their maneuvers, doing anything with like the elemental symbols or like anything in particular in their iconography.
Like, is there like a
Sorority,
group of
sisterhood?
or is there a group of college students who are playing Dungeons and Dragons in the steam tunnels? Because we know that if you play that Dungeons and Dragons game, you just like summon real demons. Like,
That's at Ball State University there in Muncie, where my character's from.
yep. True.
So there was a lot there. The first thing is you could totally talk to the other volleyball team members if you want. There has been an investigation already. You could try to get those details first so that you go in with more
Yeah.
information before
Yeah.
you're just going off and talking to random people. But you could do it the other way around too. The other one was what were you wanting to do, Dr. Cologne? You wanted to figure out the tattoo.
The timeline of
The
like
timeline
when
of the tattoo.
and like kind of just like
If you're
sitting
looking at
next
the
to Lena.
photos for the tattoo in particular, it's kind of in a weird spot. People don't like
Yeah.
hold their hand up. So there's not really, the only reason why the volleyball one shows it is because she's like going like
Yeah.
that, you know? And so
Yeah.
you can see a little bit of the tattoo. Looking at them, you've narrowed it down maybe instead of the last 6 months from like looking at the treatment of it, but
Yep.
maybe down to the last 3 months that she
Okay.
probably had the tattoo.
So she probably didn't have it when she was in the relationship with Nancy.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other side of it was, Agatha, you were asking about occult stuff, and
She's racking her brains for any potential secret society that might use the elemental
tons of people
symbols.
use triangles to represent
Yeah.
their secret societies. You like immediately hundreds come to your mind, probably.
Yeah, I mean, so many, but I'm thinking like locally or recently. You know what I mean? In terms of like movement, that she may have like access to or have been invited by, or like these sorts of things. She's a crackpot to most people, but there are certain circles where she's an expert. If you know what I mean. So.
Yeah, there are probably a couple. There's like one group of witches. They like to imagine that they're all witches. They have a monthly gathering that they do, and then they also meet up on like holidays, not like society's holidays, the witch holidays. And they study in between their meetings in order to come together to do spells or to learn from each other and to share their knowledge.
She sort of relays this to Avery mostly across the table. Like, I know some people who might know some people involved in the not so delicate art of getting involved with the occult. sort of they're not exactly experts, but they have some reach, maybe more reach than myself.
And then there's
Why would
probably a
somebody
couple
attack
other
her?
groups, but they're not as well known, and you don't have an insight with them.
Yeah.
Are they
Why
on
would
this
someone
plane or
target her?
beyond?
Why would somebody target
Motive,
her?
right?
Maybe
Haven't
she
figured that out.
I mean,
So
the breakup was an obvious one, but I can't imagine. But whatever, this body was in the apartment, so whoever it was had to get access to where she lived if she was not killed there, like which you could find on a driver's license, I'm sure. But although if she's a college student, she might have her driver's license from wherever she's from. May not have this. Look, why would somebody do this to her?
I feel like that kind of question could be answered by speaking to her teammates, maybe get a read on who she was rather than the what. And as to your question, Avery, this plane, they're on this plane.
okay. And what's the best way to contact them?
I can put out a notice, so to speak.
Psychic notice, like it's because that's not real. Psychic notices aren't.
She clams up a little bit and goes like, the methods are clandestine and secret.
I say some things are difficult to explain, and we have to use a heuristic of sorts when they're very complicated sciences and very real occurrences.
I look to Alea.
I look back, like shake my head.
Fancy
we're-
drink.
But if we're looking for
College.
motive, more people that know her, the better.
Likewise, we could attempt to return to the scene where we feel she was found and try to retrace the killer steps, maybe see if there's any evidence that was missed, or talk to the lead investigators to see if they found anything, put ourselves in the position of the perpetrator.
And that and Dr. Cologne goes a little white at that statement. Like you just said that thing, it just like just that you said something and it was like, oh.
I think there's a moment of, well, there is of course summoning her ghost back from beyond, but that's not my specialty. So.
Better rest in peace.
It's okay, Dr. Cologne. I will I'll take charge of the case file and see if we can get as much information and permission maybe to investigate this further. So that we're doing this all the official way. And
Oh yes, because maybe I need to take samples so I could get the crimes. We could get permission, I think. Yes.
yes.
So out of character, what are the things that you guys want to do?
Get the case files.
Yeah, so I want to go back to the office and see if I can
So maybe
wrangle
talk
up.
to Bill.
Speak to Bill.
Yeah.
Get access to the crime scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
The house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we definitely want to at some point speak to either her volleyball teammates or other people
Nancy.
who may have known her. Yeah.
We
Yep.
need to talk to Nancy.
Nancy,
Definitely.
I want to get in contact with Nancy.
volleyball team.
I would like to know, and I think that Orlando would just ask Agatha, mysterious sort of occult things, or people who believe that are there occult tattoo shops?
I mean, many symbols have been what would you call it, adopted by non-practitioners.
No, I meant, is there like a secret or not, like like if I were a, it's just that you said that thing about all the things and there'd be a set. And,
she like waits until you finish speaking, you know, it's like finish stammering, and she says like, no, a symbol is a symbol as long as it's drawn correctly. Like, you don't need a specific place or person unless you're using special ink or some kind of, but no, generally no.
special ink.
It's
And
a
like,
no, it's a no that sounds like it's probably a yes, but
Yeah.
a no.
and that's like, oh, special ink is like, okay, I need to go and get a sample of the ink in the tattoo, and then I can do analysis of that. So he's like trying to figure out, like, in a sciencey way what he can do. So I think that one of the things he'd want to do is, besides get the toxicology reports back on the body, go and actually get a sample of the ink on that tattoo and see if there's anything that could be identified about that, get that run through toxicology, that as well.
I'm assuming that you did do that.
Yeah,
That you did all of that.
Yeah,
Like I
wait for
said,
those reports. Yeah.
You were. I'm assuming you were thorough in your
You
research.
did
the
doctor stuff.
organs, maybe not so much yet, but like the other parts, I'm assuming you did.
Yeah,
your
and
job
also,
on
I
that.
mean, we would have done like, what do you call them? Especially since there's no blood, we've done like tissue samples for the organs as well, just to see,
Yeah.
you know, if she'd been poisoned. 'Cause you have to, like, you got to look at her liver to see if, like, because there was a question about whether or not she was drugged or not, right? So try to get that kind of information. So
Yeah, like I said,
Nancy?
the sample or the study or the data that you're going to get back from the analysis, some of it will come within the next 24 hours. Some takes longer, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
so if this were some sort of ritual,
If
I'm not saying it is, because it does not make sense. I mean, or people who think it's a ritual. If it were, where would you do that? How many
Drain.
people would be involved?
drain all the blood from a body and remove the organs using a demonic summoning, somewhere secluded, not an apartment. Outdoors is best for such things. Deep forest, somewhere people won't hear you, but that's a lot of travel for a body to make it back that far.
Be a
undamaged.
warehouse.
Could be. Yeah.
And for the pieces and for the organs to be so perfectly placed without any harm, right?
Someone was very delicate.
Yeah. So let me look through this. So you guys want to study the case files with Bill, crime scene. You want to get access to that. You want to talk to Nancy, the volleyball team. Is there anything else you want to do?
I think maybe just is the crime scene, but also the building, because if you can't just transport the body, so getting a time of death, which is part of what I was doing with the autopsy,
Mhm.
but if the body was not killed there, it had to be somewhere else and then moved there, which means the questions, it couldn't have been, it either they had a really good way to disguise themselves moving in and out, or it wasn't that far. So kind of just thinking about what are the places
Yeah,
in
you
the
want to look
area.
at the perimeter for sure.
Yeah, look at the perimeter. Yeah.
Anything else that you guys want to do?
Agatha will look into the tattoo and that like specific group of like entry level witches, so to speak.
Tattoo / witches. Okay.
But like that doesn't have to be a scene necessarily.
Okay.
Talk to neighbors.
Yeah.
Let's
talk to
Avery
neighbors.
would be focusing specifically on the crime scene itself and
Mhm.
trying to place he's trying to identify with the killer. How would the killer come in? Why would they do it this way? What makes the most sense based on the facts? Try to retrace.
Yeah, so
steps
that
if
go back to the
possible.
crime scene. So
Yeah.
the first thing seems like you need the case files. I think that's going to help
Yeah.
solve a lot of your
Yeah.
questions, and some of these things might change based on that case study.
Mhm.
So, is anyone else going with Elena for this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Wait, you're going to go with her to get the case files?
100%. I'm beloved at the station.
I'll wait for you two to get back. I don't think it's really smart of me to show up there. I I might not get it all the time, but I get that they don't want me hanging around.
There's this intense look of indecision or conflicting feelings going on with Dr. Orlando. It's like, well, if you two are going together, I will stay here with Ms. Smith.
Well, you probably can't do it tonight because everything's closed.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you guys are going to go in the morning tomorrow,
Yeah.
unless
Sweet
you're
break
planning
in.
on going tonight. And break in.
But
Do you-
Orlando, since
do you all
since
stay
the
the-
happy couple is going to hang out together, I will hang out with Agatha then. Just
Well-
it's fine.
Hey, Orlando, and I know we're sometimes technology averse and it's not exactly the same. I would slide over a very nice iPod where I put together a new playlist for you.
Oh, and it's like big cocktail iPod, and it's like have a bit of drink, put in a tune. Oh, turn it off because I don't want to be rude, but like life is going to be much better now. Like life is better now.
Are you
Yeah.
all planning to stay for the trivia this evening?
Yes. It's why I took the point in investigative
Okay.
trivia.
Elena pulls out her phone and like her friends are texting her like, hey, where are you? Like we're all meeting up. And she's just gonna come up with some excuse. She's not gonna say what she's doing.
I actually think Agatha probably leaves as well.
No,
Okay.
you have to
Okay.
come and sit with us. You know strange things. We can win. We can win if you come in and play with us.
I think there's a moment where she turns to you and she goes like, someone is dead and I want to figure out how it happened. And I'm not going to do that standing here, talking about the 7 levels of hell. Oh, it's not going to,
But they might ask about the 7 levels of hell. I didn't know there were 7.
there are 7. And she turns and goes, I have books to look at. I have things to check.
Agatha, I give you the puppy eyes, and I'm just like,
Oh.
please. And then I slide you a separate iPod. I made you a playlist as well.
Neither
In
of
fact, I
them
made it
have
for it.
negotiation, but you do have flirting. So are you flirting with Agatha?
I'd figure consensually, it's just like, please. The night is just Agatha, and I've had a few drinks. I have that like pound bag of margarita, the fun bag. So I'm just like, the night is always better when you chill with us. You're just
I think
bright
there's a
and
moment there's a
caring.
moment with your your convincing where she caves and she goes like fine, and she comes and sits back down at the table and says
just 2 rounds at least.
and says research is better at the witching hour anyway, and just waits and sort of like, I'll leave later is basically her
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah. So Agatha stays for a couple more rounds or a couple rounds of trivia, but then departs. And Elena leaves before the trivia occurs in order
No.
to hang
No.
out with her other friends.
No, but
Okay,
wait, you have to be here with us too. Like,
Okay, Elena will stay, but she's gonna come up
2
with
rounds.
a very elaborate excuse as to why she's gonna be late. And she lies, like she doesn't say she's at trivia night. She'll just say like,
Okay.
yeah, I am, I'm studying for the, next exam.
I have a headache.
Yeah.
somebody's ashamed of us.
You're perfectly capable of that. People do show up. Carlos shows up. Betty shows up, and one other person that Elena was able to talk to does
Nice.
end up coming. So you do have a team of 7 people, roughly.
Look at us.
Yes.
Do your
This is like
trivia, and you do
stability
really well.
touchstone.
You
This is our
actually do really
stability
well
touchstone,
because you have Avery, who knows a whole bunch of weird, strange trivia. Like, honestly, you probably are all just like, how do you know that? Carlos,
Yeah.
Carlos is also like super knowledgeable about like a lot of just technical stuff. Orlando is good with like the medical stuff. Elena is all right with the law-oriented things, and Agatha provides some weird options. Some right, some strange.
I totally bet there are a bunch of answers where she's like, this is definitely the answer, and it's like not at all.
Betty is not helpful at all. Betty is getting drunk,
Getting
and
hammered on wine.
dancing, and just being a riot. But she's hilarious. Like, all of you just think she's super funny. She's definitely like takes the table. And you head out for the evening. Are any of you guys doing anything this evening before the next day?
I don't know if this works this way. So you're the GM. You can tell me. Do we get stability back for this?
No,
Is that how that works? I don't know how it works.
no, you're not getting your stability back.
But do we
Your
get
stability's
props at
lost
the
forever.
office?
Sure.
Okay.
You definitely word gets around at the office that you're all pretty good at trivia, and like, when you're good at something, like there's a little bit of, you want to brag about it.
Notoriety. Yeah.
Everyone actually is like, that wasn't so bad. Maybe we'll do it again.
Okay.
And
I don't need the stability back. I just needed like
That's satisfaction.
satisfaction.
True.
You
Betty
needed
does know about the
personal-
voice, so if
you
there's any
needed
questions that
personal
come up,
out of characters stability. from-
Well, yeah, I bet Betty's clutch at some kind of thing about the voice. She's like, oh yeah, no, in season 1, and we're like, Betty.
yeah, that's a good point. Betty would know.
As to stuff this evening, Maggie. Agatha wants to go through her like personal library
Okay.
at home. And if anybody like she's like I would say pretty drunk by now, you know what I mean? She gets a cab home, leaves her car behind at the bar. And it's very much like a fugue state, you know, slightly drunk research rundown.
Yeah. Is anyone else planning to do anything? So we have Agatha this evening is going to do some occult study.
I'll drive Elena back to her car, murder her, take her organs out, put it next to her.
Okay.
So, I think I would go and hit my medical textbooks, right, and just sort of try to
Try to wrap your head around everything. Yeah.
and see like how you could actually get that much blood out. It's sort of like trying to figure out like there's this specific problem here, but there's these larger questions about
Yeah.
how that like right. And so I think just kind of a general some good medical and scientific research.
can talk about
Looking
that.
up online for
Try and find out what could cut stuff that way.
Yeah.
yeah, like what could cut stuff that way. And I think I'd probably go and get the article like a databases, like look for new research and see if anybody's working on any new technology that like a good sort of
Yeah. we
current
can go
events
through
sort
that.
of stuff. Yeah.
Avery and Elena, what are you guys thinking you're going to be doing? Or just sleep?
The only thing I would probably say is asking some of my friends, the college friends, if they know anything about the volleyball team. And ask them like if they have any usual places that they hang out. That if
Yeah,
they
So
can
you are going to meet up
decide.
with your
Because you go to
with your
the
friends.
Friday after.
You're going to the party
yeah.
afterwards. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm out all night. Basically.
Avery, what about you?
So I'd be putting together what we will call colloquially the Nancy dossier, where
Okay.
essentially I'm diving in deep. We're talking about live journals from 2001, dead journals too for the goth phase.
Mhm.
And like I'm essentially trying to put together who she is. Does she have any online communication? She seems pretty sparse, but also is there any like IP signatures or things like that? And then I would actually be using both computer use and research to try to I'm getting ready to make contact essentially, and I want to have more information than one should
What-
have.
You want to know more about Nancy than Nancy knows about Nancy.
Yes.
I think honestly, tomorrow when you guys get the case study stuff, that's going to give you the majority of the information that you.
Yeah.
You're missing
And
a
I'd
lot
like
of
to be completely
information because
wrong.
you don't have the case files.
Yeah.
And let's just go around quickly. We'll answer the questions that you have. So Avery, first, you go and you're going to study. You're looking up specifically information on Nancy. What information are you looking for?
I'm trying to put together the best I could what I'd refer to as background, previous employers.
Okay, just go through the things one at a time with me. So Nancy,
Okay.
you want to know who her employers were. You get a list of the information. It's nothing super interesting. She works in the periodicals in the college. She has another job where she also is a waitress. So she does both of those as like a job at the same time while also going to school. There's not really much else. She worked at like Burger King for a little bit prior to that.
All right, now let's take a dive.
Okay.
Let's take a look into her emails and instant messages.
Are you
Let's computer
hacking?
use this. Absolutely.
All right. And this is you're using your computer use. You have a
Yes.
2 in that, right?
This is
Um,
it's one of
ooh.
the things I'm very good at.
What information are you looking for when you hack into her PC?
What sort of one I want to see her last communications with Lisa. Two,
Well, one at a time. We'll do okay. So
okay.
last communications with Lisa through email, or what? Or IM, or you hacking into her computer, so not text messages.
it's yes to all the above. So that was the main thing I was looking for. So
Okay, computer and IM.
there would be a record online. So what
Yeah.
what are the messages? What's being
So
said?
they both use. It seems like they both use Facebook Messenger. the conversations early on are like, what time are you going to meet up with me? That kind of stuff. These back and forths are really just like, what time are we going to meet up? What time do you get off work? That kind of quick conversation. Some of them are invites to group things, like group outings with other friends. You can see that some of those friends look like they are on the volleyball team. You can easily see through Facebook who they are and what they are, especially if you're hacking into her Facebook. And it seems like the conversations between them stop within the 6 months. Doesn't look like the breakup, if they did break up, was via Messenger. So
Not at
maybe they
all.
were actual adults and had a conversation together. But you do see a message that just says, I miss you, hope you're well, and no response from
Okay.
Lisa.
Did she talk any smack about Lisa to anyone else online? It's one of those things where
Ooh.
they're talking to someone
Yeah.
else.
You look at other conversations, it looks
Fighting.
like Nancy does chat with her mom a lot. A lot of the conversations are her mom telling her to eat healthier, go out, exercise, things like that, when they're meeting up for family stuff. And in some of those conversations, it does look like she does express that her and Lisa did break up. One of the events that her mother has invited her to is like, hey, don't and bring your girlfriend. I know your dad's not really interested, or your dad is not as accepting of this, but he'll come around. It seems like maybe she came out to her family more recently, and her father is not approving of it. But in the response, she says that they're no longer together, so she'll be coming alone.
There's one last thing that I search for, and this is actually IRL most investigations and the most damning. Her search history. Is there anything unusual or potentially incriminating?
From Nancy, no. It seems like she's
Alex,
just
you're
a
draining
very
blood from above.
quiet,
Yep.
keeps to herself,
That's right.
likes cats. Like she does a lot of cat stuff.
Yeah, if her chat
Not-
just
and
know
not
like actual
furry-
killers out there
not
search
furry
how to
cat
kill
stuff,
sleeping
just-
girl. Or,
She just likes
Not
cats.
furry.
I just
Okay.
wanted to clarify.
not furry. Yeah, it's okay. Just
She's
cats.
not
that search-
furry. She just likes
seems
cats. And it
I
looks
feel
like friends give her birthday gifts and stuff like that, and they're cat-related stuff as well. And
It's
she
one of
doesn't
those-
look like she has a lot of friends. It's maybe like 2 friends.
Yeah.
One of them was at one point Lisa, and she talks to her mom a lot.
this is one of those things where I feel the moment of guilt and remorse for intruding someone's privacy, but for the good of the investigation, I tear off the guilt like a band-aid and I'm gonna back out.
Perfect. All right. And then moving on to, we'll go with Orlando next.
Orlando would have texted, because Orlando's doing a bunch of research, and Orlando would have texted Avery, "Hey dog, can you find out what Lisa Bath's parents did?"
I
was
could
just like-
certainly try Orlando MG.
Perfect. Yeah, you look up, you try to find information on Lisa Bath, and you don't really see anything. She has a Facebook and an Instagram, and those are the 2 things that seem like they're hers. Everything else is like another Lisa Bath, like an older lady. And it seems
That's
like
mysterious. It's
from
mysterious.
yeah,
I'm
from
suspecting name changes.
suspecting name changes. Oh, I mean, I think when you get, like I said, when you get the case files,
Yeah.
things are going to make a lot more sense. But you don't see anything parents-wise. And also when you hack into her Facebook, which I'm assuming you're doing, you can see the other side of other conversations. It seems like she's chats a lot with a whole bunch of people. It's mostly the volleyball team, a couple other friends that are outside. There's about 3 or 4 people who look like they from out of state. They're not in Chicago. They're in Minnesota. And it appears that maybe they were high school friends. It's like 2 girls that she always talks to. It's mostly just like casual conversations of like, how are you doing? How's your mom? Like, how is your family? You don't see any like mother or father listed on her Facebook or anything like that, but you do see a grandmother. It seems like her grandfather is deceased, and a couple aunts and uncles.
I would relay back essentially the Bath pedigree chart the best
Yeah.
I could get to
because people
good
tag
doctor.
like who their family is on
Yeah.
Facebook and stuff.
Mhm.
On Instagram, it's you guys already saw what's on there. It seems like that's mostly just photos. All right, going on to Dr. Orlando Colon. What was it that you wanted to do?
I think the research
Medical
starts.
studies.
Yes, I think it starts mundane. I'm mostly doing medical studies, maybe also a little bit of forensics.
Yeah, walk me through
invest-
the questions that you have, and I'll try to answer
Yeah.
them.
And it starts normal. More
Mhm.
like, have there been any other instances of total exsanguination in the medical literature? Because this is like,
Ooh.
my understanding is this is exsanguination beyond what is normal or possible, right?
Yeah, it does not appear that most things like this happen. There are ways to drain blood like that for medical research purposes, or like if you donate your organ, like donate
Mhm.
your organs and stuff like that. In some of those cases, they will use every part of you. So those would be kind of the only things that you would see in that initial search.
Right. But that's not a practical thing for a serial killer to do in an
No.
apartment, right? Yeah.
No,
Uh,
yeah.
So I want to look up in sort of more recent literature, things like, how medical people will get like new medical technology stuff, seeing if there's any kind of devices. I know there's like some kind of like sonic surgery stuff and like any kind of devices that, and
Yeah.
the thing is, he's concerned that he's not, the answer going to be for all these questions is going to be no, which is just going to make him a little bit distressed. But
There are things like that, but they are held in like institutions. So in order for
Mhm.
you to have access to them, you'd have to be
Mhm.
pretty high profile. There might be
Are-
one in Chicago. trying to think
that
of,
would be
like, what are
interesting
the
to know
biggest-
where.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like most high tech like hospitals.
Or maybe University of Chicago if they have a hospital.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah. Because they probably do like
So-
have research medicine there.
Medical, yeah.
Yeah, there is one in Chicago, but I think the one that is the biggest, or like the one that would probably have this, is in California.
Mhm.
There might be one in Maryland.
Mm,
California seems to be the highest
yeah.
one that would have that kind of stuff. And then the Mayo Clinic Cancer Center might have some things that would be relevant to what you're looking for, and that would be Arizona, Florida, Minnesota. But those ones
Right.
would be like the ones that have that kind of tech, which is not
Right.
Chicago.
But not in Chicago.
Correct.
Okay. So then this is
Oof.
where I'm getting slightly different
I
feelings.
agree with you, the person in chat. I have researched some weird shit. I'm on some
Yeah,
kind of
just-
list right now.
Yeah, it's fine. And I think the question where he would go after this, like, and it's this thing where it's like, I'm going to see if this has happened before. Probably not. Didn't happen. I know that you can do if you're medical. Okay, interesting. Okay, well, are there like devices? Yes, but
All
only if
the
you're
while
medical.
considering demons.
Right? But like no demons. And so this, and it's like, okay, this is like a process of being like, there's got to be a non-demon relation.
Yeah, you're
to
trying
this.
to, and like it's all pointing to probably there has to be something strange going on.
But I have one more way to do this,
Okay,
where
what's
it's
one
maybe
more?
not demons.
All right, let me hit me with it.
Surgeons who have the skill to do this in this area, who are still surgeons or who've been disgraced or had their medical license taken. So
Ooh.
sort of looking for people who might actually have the ability, who've had access to this technology before, who've done these kinds of things, people who are that good, because I don't think there are that many people who are that good,
For
either
sure.
current or disgraced. And if any of them, either people who've come through for conferences, because they're medical conferences, maybe somebody traveled through, or somebody who's actually here regularly, and just kind of give a look to see if any of them are related
Yeah.
to Lisa or Nancy, that kind of a thing.
You definitely find a few different surgeons who have lost their license. There's probably like a list of like 100 of them, but when you narrow it down to the area, the possible location that this happened in, and the space that it did, there's probably like 3 or 4 that you narrowed it down to, but none of them have correlation to Lisa Bath that you can find.
Well, that's all right. But if there are people who are that skilled, who are in the air, and there are only 3 or 4 of them, I'm just going to text those names to Avery. And like, I'll do like medical background stuff, like just, what their research is on, if they presented, just kind of like general, like,
Mhm.
who are they? But I feel like if there's anything super sketch, I'll just hand that to Avery. And I'm going to text the names to Agatha in
Okay.
case they're demon people as well. I don't know if they, but
Okay.
Agatha and Avery, you both get text messages with
Text-
these names.
Texting to Agatha is really awkward because she still has a flip phone. So
T9.
Like a Razor flip phone.
yeah, like
Yeah.
like sort of like that. So she can get the text, but her messages back are always like indecipherable because she hasn't mastered the ability to touch type it
All the
back.
letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of which, well, I want to end on Agatha because I have plans.
Okay.
Elena, Elena, we'll go to you next. What were the things that you wanted? You wanted to like meet up with your friends, right?
Yeah, meet up with my friends and just kind of casually. We don't go too deep into it. Just casually ask if they know anything about the DePaul
University
volleyball team. And,
Yeah.
like where
Um,
people hang out.
What college are you going to?
I said University of Chicago is where
Okay.
I go.
Do all of your friends go to University of Chicago as well, or are they kind of dispersed?
Most of my circle does go to the same school as me, but I know that like there are other circles of friends who hang out with other university students outside.
And I
A
know
lot
that
of-
like grad programs often do that intra-school, like all the law students in Chicago meet up for a drink. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They have
true.
little
So
meetups and mixers.
I certainly know people who go to DePaul University for sure.
Okay. From the friends that you meet up with, I think most of them, it's going to be a little bit more casual in the sense of like what they know about the volleyball team. It seems like they're not that good, but they're really fun to hang out with. They're a good group of girls. A lot of them have had their way paid through school. When you mention Lisa's name, only one of them says that, oh yeah, I've met that person before, but I don't know her that well. She seemed really nice. She didn't seem like the others as much. She's kind of a little bit more quiet. But from what you gather, there's nothing like super intriguing. No new clue or information has come from that conversation really.
Okay. Do they have a normal like bar that they like to go to, or just a place that like maybe that the DePaul students hang out at? That's
Oh yeah.
in case we wanted to investigate further, we
Tons.
could-
You see, like downtown near the DePaul University, there's tons of places where the kids
Okay.
hang out.
Do they go to the Lights Out pub?
Hey, I don't think they would be seen there. But...
There's definitely a lot of places that they go. But in regards to Lisa specifically, it seems like she's not as much of a party girl as the other girls.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to look into.
All right. And then Agatha, you are specifically looking
Indeed.
at the tattoo and you want to meet up with the witches.
I think
What is your goal
I think-
here?
I think there's a lot of slightly drunk meandering going on from Agatha's end. Like she makes it home and then she like sends a text message or whatever. It's very unwitchy to like whoever she has in contact in the like local coven, being like, can we talk about some stuff, like, but her text messages are really difficult to decipher.
Yeah, you get a response that's
Um,
sure. When do you want to meet up?
soon as possible.
Now?
Actually, you know what? I don't think she texts. I think she calls. I think she actually
Oh.
like uses the phone like a phone.
Okay.
And calls and says like, yeah, now you can come around to my you know where it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll see you in a bit. And
Okay.
she just like hangs up.
You okay? And then you hang up.
Yeah, fine, hang up. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to do other than meet up with them?
I think she's like going through her own personal library of like books and tomes. She's got like a bookcase dedicated to all kinds of the occult section in a bookstore. The kind of like that, but a little bit more rare, if you know what I mean. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff you wouldn't be able to like regularly get that she has access to.
You have a short period of time before this person shows up. Is there something
She's
that
she's just browsing through the books like while she waits. The
Okay,
kind
so
of
no-
like
nothing in
drunk,
particular.
the kind of like drunk lying on the floor looking at books with your feet up on the ottoman like level of like waiting.
All right. 15 minutes pass by and you hear a knock on your door.
She puts aside whatever tome she's got hanging over her head and gets up and walks over to the door and unlatches it awkwardly because it's got a weird lock on it and pulls it open.
You open the door and you see this girl dressed in like all black. She has kind of like frilly sleeves, black tights, black like combat boots. Her hair is dyed black, but it looks like it's probably was blonde at one point, and her skin is very pale. She's like these big rimmed glasses, and she's just like, "Can I come in?"
Oh, yeah, no, of course, and like sort of waves her in past her, shuts the door, and locks it back up.
What does your apartment look like?
Agatha's apartment is a weird combination of like antiques and stuff that has just become antiques over the course of her owning it. Like, everything in there is like at least 10 years old, furniture wise. And she's just like, she clearly doesn't take a lot of care of the space, like everything's there's a little bit dusty, or like there's a pile of dishes on the table or something that she just hasn't gotten around to yet. It's like not fantastically lit. It's like lamps rather than like ceiling lights, so to speak.
Okay, so like a more dim,
sort of like a yellow light kind of a vibe. Yeah, like yellow, bulbs. I think she sort of like waves the woman in and sort of sits down on the couch and goes like, "Do you know anything about Lisa Bath? You ever met her?"
That name doesn't come up. Why?
She had a tattoo of the triangle, the elemental symbol for fire, on her arm, and she's killed recently.
Do you have a picture?
No, I don't. And she takes a moment to like think about it, and then goes, I could probably get a picture, but not on me. Oh, and she like goes to the Instagram page as if she's like just realized she slides over to her computer, which is like a CRT monitor, Windows 98 style.
No.
Yeah, it takes a while to boot up. It's just not something she often goes to. And sort of brings up the Instagram stuff and scrolls through the feed and clicks on the picture that like has the tattoo on her arm, like on the volleyball picture.
Yeah, where she's like serving the ball or going to hit the ball.
Like that.
She looks at it for a moment and asks if she can take over like the PC.
Yeah, she slides the computer chair sort of out of the way and
see her
stands.
hold her hand on the mouse and the keyboard, and she just closes her eyes for a moment, and she starts like humming, and she does this for like 5 minutes. Do you just let her?
Nope, totally normal. Yeah.
5 minutes. She sits there just humming like that. And then she just opens her eyes all at once.
So?
I think there was a fire.
It's the symbol for fire. Maybe she got it because of a fire?
Yeah, I think so.
She nods like, okay, yeah. That's useful. Thank you. It would be clear to this girl that Agatha is like slightly inebriated, you know what I mean? Like her actions are like even more like sort of like weirdly hesitant than usual.
This girl seems very like soft in nature, and just like her voice is really soft, the way that she talks.
And I think Agatha just goes like, it's important we find out what happened to her. I seen
Something
some stuff.
happened to her?
She nods and says, Yeah,
Was it
Killed.
a fire?
no, much of a different thing. She all her organs, it's taken out and put aside and online. No blood. Uh
Strange.
very, very strange.
Do you know
Thus
what
the whole
caused it?
I mean, my guess would be something awry with a demonic summoning, or something perfectly well done with a demonic summoning, but that's uh not the consensus that the medical office seems to share.
They never
Um,
believe us.
Well, sometimes they do if you find the right people. But so maybe that's the fire. She like thinks about it like it might not be have actually been a fire. It might be something connected
No.
to this.
There was definitely a fire. I had the sense of like the heat and the warmth. There's definitely a fire.
She nods like, okay, like taking that completely at face value as a fact. And says, otherwise we don't have a whole lot. She went to the local college. She was on the volleyball team. She had friends, I think. I think some other folks are going to speak to them tomorrow.
If there's anything I can help with, just let me know.
Yeah, no, of course. Thanks for coming over. It's a little, I mean, I know it's late.
I'm always up.
Me too.
Do the two of you just hang out for the rest of the night? Like, what's the
Yeah, I
plan?
think there's a little bit of like she's like, look, let's maybe there's something in my library here that can help us. Like, you want to just stay? I'll make some tea. We'll look some stuff over and see if we can come up with anything.
All right. And you drink some tea, and it's almost like, that cute witch vibe where you're like sitting, drinking your tea, reading your occult books, nerding out about different things, maybe coming up with different demon theories, rituals that could possibly happen, finding different organ things, like basically just sharing information as much as possible.
Agatha totally doesn't maintain the confidentiality of the police precinct by any means, and just like it tells her everything that she wants to know about this so that they can research together perfectly well. She just doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, Orlando and
She
Elena
acknowledges she acknowledges that she shouldn't, but then does anyway, basically.
Perfect. And the evening ends with everybody curling up into their beds, whatever their nightly rituals are, whether it's, putting on like a little face mask and washing their face, brushing their teeth, some snuggled up in bed with an occult book, whatever it may be, listening to a podcast or music. And the night fades as they all fall asleep. In the middle of the night, though, Agatha, you're awakened. Your bed is shaking.
She like sits bolt upright. If she's capable of moving. I don't know if that's
Yeah, you sit up bolt right, looking around.
Yep.
You don't see anything. But then all of a sudden, sounds start dimming. And you can't hear anything all of a sudden. It's quiet. It gets darker. So much that you blink, you can't see. It's just blackness.
Yeah. Hello? Something there?
And you look around, panicking, seeing if someone's there. You feel something touch your shoulder.
She she does her very best not to flinch away from whatever it is.
Do you look?
She looks for sure.
You look, and you see Lisa standing there behind you.
Well,
She walks towards your bedroom door. She stands in the doorway, motions you to come to her.
yeah, I think Agatha like gets out of bed and you know, in her like nightgown follows along with the corpse. Is it like visibly like the corpse of Lisa, or like
It looks like the before, where she's
okay,
but
so
she's
like
naked,
a lively Lisa but
Yeah.
naked. Yeah.
but naked, yeah.
Okay.
And you follow her. You go to open your door, your bedroom door.
Yep.
When you open the bedroom door, you see into a room, but it is not the living room that you're used to seeing. The room is, it looks like another, maybe like someone else's living room. It doesn't look like yours. On the floor, you see a body. This time it is a man, and he is naked, sprawled out on the floor. He's got blonde hair. You can't see his eyes because his eyes are closed. And then you blink, and then he's dead. And next to him, his organs are laid out
She
parallel to his body.
she winces like she sort of like felt the dread of that coming, you know, like that it was going to be the same sort of thing. And she sort of like swears under her breath.
As you swear under
Um,
your breath, you blink again, and it's your living room, and you're standing in the doorway of your bedroom.
I better
And you
call
look at the
Avery.
clock. It says it's 3:03.
Immediately she like goes to get her phone from the nightstand, turns back into her bedroom, goes to get her phone from her nightstand, and calls Avery, I think.
And as we hear
Um,
the sound of ringing, that's where we end today's episode.
Yeah.
Oh, oh
Perfectly
no.
on time.
Oh no.
Yay.
For the record, I just put in my notes that she woke up at 3:03 because for all I know, that's the key to everything. They'll
I
be
know,
like,
right?
like-
All of the notes, like we're
my
gonna
notes
have
are-
the theories. Yeah, the board.
I think
All
once
the
you
theories.
get that case study though, it's going to give you a lot of
Yeah,
information that
poor
you're
Maggie.
missing.
We're digging into this so deep, and Maggie's like, we got the case. Just get the
You can
case
read
study,
the
guys.
Get the case study.
but we just couldn't get it till tomorrow. And
You
until
could have got
tonight.
it the day before. Like you could have got it when you
We
were
break
at work.
in. No.
Well,
We
but
had trivia.
we had
trivia night,
and
okay?
a little bit of emotional trauma that was like,
Yeah.
I'm a little freaking out, but again,
Can't
it'll be
miss
like,
trivia night.
yeah, 3:03. So like clearly there'll be like 3 here, then like a 0 there and a 3, and it's like a puzzle, like in an adventure game, and you got to press the buttons. It'll work out.
How is Agatha feeling? Or maybe we'll talk about in the after show a little bit more, but
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
okay. Because that will depend on whether we start the scene with it seems like you were pretty calm and collected because you immediately went and grabbed the phone. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't make you make a stability check. So with
She's
that, we're
got
gonna
pretty high.
wrap-
She's got pretty high stability as well.
Yeah, she does have a high stability. We're going to wrap up today's episode and we're going to go record an after show. If you're interested in supporting us and checking out that after show, as well as getting a whole plethora of other rewards like the character sheets for these lovely characters, the GM notes that I'm going to write up, and all kinds of other stuff. Currently, we have our February recap that just went up. So if you're interested in seeing how Roll For It is run, you can check that out. And that is at patreon.com/rollforit. You support us and help us make wonderful, lovely stories and characters like this. And we give you in return some things in as well as entertainment. Including at Legend here, you get to have access to a privately GM'd game by one of our cast members.
Miss Magitech GM'd one recently.
I did. Yes. 2 months ago, or like the January/February.
Didn't you
I
do one,
GM'd.
Trooper? Or
Yeah, I did one last month.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Action Movie World.
Ooh. Oh,
It was
I
like
love
Escape-
Action Movie World.
Yeah, it was like Escape
I
from
wanna
Los
do one.
Angeles. It was
That's
really good.
cool. So yeah, you can partake in one of those, and it's always good fun. We try to swap it up. Bentham does a good job of trying to pick new people every month so that it's not the same, and you can enjoy that. Sometimes they affect the actual games that we're playing, so that can always be intriguing. And of course, you can support us by becoming a subscriber here on Twitch or a YouTube member over on YouTube and get access to some cool emotes. Twitch gives you access to VODs in advance, and of course, we always put them up on our YouTube channel. And if you are a patron, a YouTube member, a Twitch subscriber, you get access to a private Discord where we talk about all the things. And I'm curious to see what everyone's thoughts are on the Discord. With that, I'm going to let everyone say where you can find them at, and I'm going to look to see if we had any tips so I can read those out. Let's start with Wise Papa Grant, played by Avery, or Avery Cohen, played by Wise Papa Grant. Got it backwards. What are you doing when you're not, being a conspiracy theorist podcast enthusiast? Probably the same thing, right? Just
So hi everyone. My name is Grant Ellis. You can find me on Twitter at Wise Papa Grant. I'm the producer for WebVM's Twitch channel. I'm also hosting a new show coming in the next couple months called The Wonderful World of RPGs, which highlights players, artists, designers around the community, which is independently financed and run by myself just to help share the love. That's about it, though. The best place to catch me is here next week on Roll For It, because I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I'm excited to see what happens next.
I'm excited too. And next week, reminder, it is going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific, but still 6 p.m. UK. It'll be a weird time zone shift. And as well as tomorrow's episode for The Last Ditch is at a weird time because time zones, daylight savings time makes everything awkward. Next up, we have Elena Miller, played by Miss Magitech. What are you doing when you're not being a good intern?
When I'm not here playing this on Saturdays, you can find me here on Saturdays also playing Vampire the Masquerade. So I'm here every Saturday. Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Magitech. You can also find me all over the internet as Miss Magitech. I am all over the place right now playing a lot of tabletop stuff. Basically from Wednesday to Sunday, I play in different tabletop games. And then Monday and Tuesday, I like to stream on my own channel and play through my backlog of RPGs. So feel free to follow me and find out what I'm up to. Twitter, Instagram, all of the places. But that's me.
Next, we have Agatha Smith, played by Distracted Elf. What are you up to when you're not getting deep into the occult studies and having weird hallucinations?
Getting deep into the occult studies and having weird hallucinations. But aside from that, I'm Distracted Elf. You can find me at twitch.tv/DistractedElf or on Twitter at DistractedElf. I run a bunch of tabletop stuff for Roll20. So I'm currently running a D&D game on Mondays at 1 p.m. PST on D&D's channel for Ram of the Frostmaiden, and I'm also running a GM prep stream and the actual game for Star Wars Desperate Gamble on Thursdays and Fridays on Roll20's channel, which is Roll20 app. So yeah, you can find me there. It's basically what I do.
Yes. And then we have, last but not least, Dr. Colon, played by Academic Foxhole. Where can people find you when you are not being the good old doctor?
Well, I just noticed I was in the Roll For It chat, which you can be a member of if you are a Patreon or a subscriber, all that business. You get access. It was really cool. And I was like, oh, hey, look at that. There's there's like the One Shot Saloon, which is where they talk about the game. Oh, that's cool. And I was like, I wonder what it says, because I'm like fascinated. And like I was like, oh, look, there's Maggie Crone. Oh, this is from yesterday. And she's like, oh, wait. And it says here that this system is super dangerous. And if we split, we're going to die. Huh. So I was just having a little bit of freak out. It was cool. It's cool because we're currently all split up. It's great. Don't even worry about it. And I am Trooper SJP. You can find me at Trooper SJP on Twitch or Academic Foxhole on Twitter. At 6 p.m. Eastern time today, so in like an hour, I will be GMing Fate of Cthulhu, The Return of Carcosa on Weave the Tale, that channel. Tomorrow you can find me at 5 p.m. Eastern for Into the Southlands, which is a Kobold Press, and Praxagora, the Smophoria's channel, the Romance of the Blue Rose, where I play a bird. I play a bird. If you want to see me play a bird. And then, of course, the big things that I do on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern on my channel, Trooper SJP, I GM a Fate, French Resistance campaign, pretty gritty. And this is just, I just want to say, I love all the players and I also love Maggie. So I just was so excited to be able to play with this group. And what a great crew. I love the dynamic. I love the chemistry. I love everybody's vibe. I love that this is clearly not at all supernatural and nothing bad will happen to any of us. And all those weird psychic things and none of that is, yeah, it's gonna be fine. Yep. Fine. Super fine. And there's no history of Chicago having problematic things happening in it. So like, I know that next week it'll be,
not.
yeah.
Roll for it, canon. Yeah.
Nope. It's just gonna be. We're gonna have another trivia night, and then Maggie will be like, "The trivia is who was the killer? It's you!" And then like there's murder. It's just. And
That's
chat,
the true murder mystery. Is the trivia?
chat, you have to let us know who did it. Which one of us four is the killer?
Yeah.
You just have to let us know.
The
There should be a
chat
poll.
is, or like people are definitely trying to figure
Give
out who
us
the
your
killer
theories.
is. And there are theories that one of you is it, but I don't know. You'll have to tune in next week to find out what's happening. And with that,
about
we
you?
don't have any donations, but you can find me at Margaret Crone in all of the places because I am Margaret Crone. Branding. I do lots of tabletop stuff on the internets. So if you'd like to check that out, just follow me and I'll let you know whenever I'm live. I also make video games for a living. I currently am working on a project called Ashes of Creation. You can find it at Ashes of Creation on all of the places. And I made a tabletop RPG called Witches and Spellcraft if you're interested in witches and spellcraft.
Also a fun game. Yes.
Is that on the YouTube for Roll For It if people wanted to watch it?
Yes, there are a couple episodes of that on here as well as in other places, and you can find the game on Drive-Thru RPG. So that's going to be all for us today. We're going to go record an after show, and we'll see what everyone's thoughts are. I'm definitely curious. See you tomorrow for The Last Ditch, and if you are watching, or if you are looking for something else to watch, we also have after show and MP3 for Ascension going out like now. So, bye.
Bye.